On an extra long episode of Dynamite tonight, both the Elite and United Empire with Will Ospreay took on different members of the Don Callis family. We also had a four-way match for the TBS Championship. And the interview with Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, and honestly, the one with Mercedes Moné and Willow Nightingale, they all kind of fell apart. Was that okay?
I thought they were civil. I thought gentlemen and ladies were speaking, and some people just couldn't handle it. But what do I know?
And I think you sound as delusional as Maria. Let's get into it.
Uh-oh.
Yes, boy!
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Fake. We can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Mark It Down podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by James Asante. Back here once again to review AEW Dynamite. We apologize for being 5 minutes late. You know it. We had a couple of extra things to set up after we both joined the thing. So forgive us, but we're here, and we got a lot of Dynamite to cover. As I mentioned, this one at least a half hour over.
Oh, yeah, this easy 10:30 minimum.
Yep. So if my notes want to come up, they don't. All right, I'll just wing this. We started tonight's evening with a match between the reunited United Empire, as it was Will Ospreay, and then actual full-time United Empire members as Francesco, Akira, and Henare facing off against the Don Callis family. Again, damn notes won't load. Who was in this one? It was
on what
Archer.
side?
It was Lance Archer,
Rocky Romero, and the Machine,
and Brian Cage. Yes. Thank you.
How do you not remember? This is Lance Archer's first AEW Dynamite match in maybe 17 years.
Kind of feels like it, but I honestly, if you look at the teams, yes, my notes are back. If you look at the teams, it really made sense. This is just a bunch of New Japan guys.
Oh, no, absolutely. I was so frustrated because I'm thinking to myself, wow, Lance Archer, that's a monster. Wow, Brian Cage, that's a monster. We know who's taking the pin. Rocky Romero.
I love Rocky, but I don't know, his head's not in the game lately. I'll jump to the end of this one. So after Henare took
out... Strike one.
After Henare took out Archer with a senton and Akira took out Cage with a moonsault off the turnbuckles, both on the outside, you had Ospreay and Romero left one-on-one in the ring. Rocky hit a couple of strikes, including a big uppercut onto Ospreay to stun him, and Rocky decided that warranted his soccer celebration, the slide into the corner. And naturally, that turned out to be a pretty bad idea, as Ospreay recovered very quickly, and he took off Rocky's head with a hidden blade, and then he pinned Rocky for the win. And everything seemed pretty cool. United Empire, they went up to the ring together. Akira was very happy with the dub. Ospreay went up to the camera when they were on the ramp, and he told Caleb Newton to call him. So hopefully they can repair that. But James, I only covered in the end here because we got so much to do, but this match ruled. The whole sequence leading up to the end was awesome. Henare took out Archer with a giant headbutt. Ospreay combining with Akira for that cutter over the ropes right before that. Like, this match was a lot of fun and very, not honestly very New Japan, but it kind of felt like a good mix of AEW and New Japan.
No, it definitely, you hit the nail on the head. This felt like as close to a New Japan match we were going to get tonight, and I think that was great. I know we were joking, or I was joking, but I'm just happy Archer actually wrestled on the show. We got the return of the Death Machines, man. Yeah. I was really high on that team before everything fell apart. So it's really cool to see that even in this weird formation existed. If I don't know if you guys are following, by the way, hello everybody, you know it, Darich, everybody. I don't know if you guys understand, but like on the New Japan side of things are not great with United Empire. What's his name? JC Mateo. Jeff Cobb just came back. Do you know how bad it is that I remembered the WWE name over the actual name?
Yeah, especially because it was only said about 5 times over in Bristol or Stamford, excuse me.
Jeff Cobb came back and immediately took out Calum. And Calum is not happy with Will Ospreay. For the most part, United Empire, led by Calum, is not happy about Will Ospreay's involvement. That it feels like they feel like he's taking advantage of them, that he can call on them whenever, but they cannot call on him. And the big idea is this is leading to a match at Wrestle Kingdom between Calum and Ospreay. So it really does make me think about the outcome of Ospreay Kenny, because on one hand, do they want the AEW champion in Japan for a couple weeks' time? Or would New Japan appreciate having the AEW World Championship defended on their show? I think honestly, as much as they would love that, I think they want Calum to beat Ospreay. And
yeah, that would be my guess.
Do that. I don't know if they do that if Ospreay's champion. So there's a lot to dissect with this match. It seems so innocent. It seems so on paper very simple. But when you really look at the parts, there is a lot that just so many things are shifting. And I find that to be very interesting. Very fun.
It is possible, though, you know, and we'll discuss it a bit in a moment, looking at kind of the parallels with Will and Calum and Will and Kenny. It is possible Will does beat Calum initially, and then Calum gets to win back later, and then maybe possibly pulls it out in the third one.
It is possible. It's definitely possible. I don't know, because that is a long-term commitment from New Japan and AEW with Ospreay.
Right.
And I don't know what AEW wants to have planned for Will in the long term. So I think if I'm New Japan, I get Calum to beat Ospreay now to establish him. Like, you got to remember, Calum is now a former IWGP World Champion.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's some nobody kid. He's still a kid, but he's a kid with a big, excellent resume. So if you really want to put a star on top of that A+, you haven't beat Will. But again, we're talking about a different company. That's on me, but it got my wheels turning. Either way, really fun start to the show. Ospreay gonna Ospreay with that hidden blade. Rocky gonna Rocky. It cost him the match. It was fun. I enjoyed it. And it was cool to see Henare and Akira.
Yeah, I like those guys a lot. Henare, again, that headbutt, that got an audible from me. Like, that was a headbutt uppercut to Archer as he was holding Ospreay and Akira in chokeslam position. So he had no way of defending himself, which kind of called back to something a bit later. But just, I really like this match. And, you know, to add another parallel to what was the main event, you had the return of the Death Machines for this match. You had the return of Davis and Doyle in the main event. So some of the Haas tag teams of the Don Callis family starting to reunite here, and we'll see what type of pushes they start getting together in the tag division.
I've been very clear. I do not like units. I do not like groups or stables that have multiple tag teams in them, because it just feels like, all right, there's a redundancy. The Don Callis family is the one group that I'm okay with it, because everybody is vying for something and they will not stop at backstabbing one another. And with the existence of the trios titles, any one of those teams could literally just be paired with anybody for that third belt.
Yeah.
So I very happy with the Don Callis family reconfiguration tonight.
I wonder, considering a later challenge, if one of them shows up for the trios titles at Wembley. You know, if we get some sort of configuration.
It's very possible.
Don being like, hey, open challenge, we're sending some dudes.
Don, who was not there tonight.
Yes.
Needs to be noted. Don was somewhere tanning on a Greek beach, like the stallion that he is. And he must have felt very confident in his boys tonight. Obviously was not merited, but he must have felt very confident.
some of them, did pretty well for themselves, or at least one of them did. The rest of them,
one.
I guess, yeah.
Literally one. And the one we all think isn't going to be with the group for that long.
Yeah, but I will say this. Excalibur and the guys mentioned a lot on commentary. Even though he wasn't there, Don's fingerprints were all over this episode.
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
with that one guy.
Yeah, no, let's be honest. We've talked about it. The Don Callis family went from being oh my God, I don't want them on TV, to like unavoidable. You need to watch them. You are going to enjoy them. They are integral to the show. Yeah,
I mean, I always liked them, but they never really had that type of go away heat with me, I don't think. But now
they did. For me. Yeah. Like during the Jericho and Omega versus Don Callis family era, it was very much, this is not a group I take seriously. I do not want to watch them.
I think part of it was that, and then also part of it too, we were incredibly tired of Kenny going against Don, and we were kind of getting worn out with Jericho, and then Jericho was spending a long time going against Don. And I feel like it was a little more of that than the family itself. But this iteration has been great for a while now. Especially since Fletcher joined, they hit another gear, and they've still kept that even as like Takeshita had left.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit up some comments here. I know it and Derek have been showing a lot. Let's see. They're saying last time we heard from Henare and Akira, it was Chaos in Canada back in April against the Death Riders. Yep, that was most of United Empire too. Newman was there. Yep. I know the missus showed up to help Will in that match as well. Yep. So that was a fun one. See, Darish also very happy Cobb returned to New Japan. He joined Unbound Co. I know you mentioned that he attacked Caleb James, but
there's a lot of drama there because the way Jeff Cobb left New Japan was not necessarily the most kosher.
Yeah, I remember.
He kind of left his United Empire teammates in the lurch, legit. So I don't think he was welcome back to United Empire. Like, I don't think they would take him back, like, for real.
Yeah, it looks like they're at least willing to work with him, but
yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. They're also really happy Shingo challenged Claudio to a match, New Japan show over in Kobe.
It's going to be nuts because Claudio has not worked a lot of singles for New Japan and has not really worked for New Japan. Like, there's been a lot of commingling, like on AEW shows, but this is a nice welcome break for New Japan. Really good grab to get Claudio.
Yeah, he does a few of their shows, quite often. He's always on that not Wrestle Kingdom, but the one they have like right after it with
Dynasty, Wrestle Dynasty. But even that they haven't had in a couple of years. I looked it up. I think this is only his third or fourth New Japan appearance in the last few years.
Really? They've all been very good.
Yes, yes, they have been.
Yes. Let's see. Derek's also excited for Claudio versus Eddie this Saturday on Collision.
Yes.
Yep. Chikara rematch. That's always fun.
I am so fascinated because I genuinely think Claudio beats Eddie. And I think Mox has two potential opponents for All In. I think there's a good chance Nigel goes all the way. Loses in the final, but I think Nigel might make it to Wembley.
Yeah, I've heard some people say that as well. Plus, he's got that match at Death vs. Dishonor coming up. I think that's the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And I think if I remember the stipulation correctly, if he loses, he can no longer wrestle in Ring of Honor.
Yes. So. Yeah. So I think, yeah. Interesting stuff.
See, Derek's jumping the gun a little bit as well as we'll come back to those later about Kenny. But it asked me if I'm ready for some football. I guess, it's cool. I know I'm wearing the football jersey, but I'm still watching baseball.
Yeah.
The Mets have been on a bit of a tear since the trade deadline. So
you guys got bit of a tear. You guys got
11-2.
Whoop-de-doo, Basil.
Make the playoffs.
Okay.
You're gonna make the
playoffs. You guys got to understand something about Rev. I am blessed that I get him for Dynamite every week because it's a Wednesday. Whatever season of sport he's in it. He when football season comes and it starts, he's in it 100%, but he's not in it until baseball's done.
You should see my 12 games set up on college football Saturdays.
Yep.
I think the record's 14, but usually I have 12.
Insanity.
A lot of laptops. Let's see. Derek's saying Lance Archer is 49 and he can still go in the ring. He can. I do love Archer, and it's insane that he's still not only in that good of shape, but like is able to move the way he does and wrestle the way he does at his age.
Yep.
Those former quarterbacks, man. Darius wants to see Henare versus Claudio versus Jeff Cobb in a 3-way. That would slap.
That would be a lot of fun.
That would be a good one. See, let's see. Also saying he's happy Don Callis was not on Dynamite tonight, but it was great seeing Taz. It's Taz. Taz, I feel like, has been doing more of the West Coast stuff, or like at least Eastern Seaboard.
Which is funny because
excuse me, East Coast. I said West Coast. I mean Eastern, like East Coast, Eastern Seaboard. So he doesn't have to travel as much. I'm sure he's still slightly recovering from his, his various surgeries. So
all we know is we're not getting Brian. It's going to be some formation of Nigel, Taz, and the occasional Paul White, but we're just not getting Brian for a while.
Yeah, and Nigel's probably not going to be on for a bit because he's in the tournament and he's got his match on Friday. So we're probably going to get Taz like next week. I think next week they're in Glasgow. I'm pretty sure. So we'll see who does that one. It really kind of depends, I guess. Nigel's wrestling next week, so he's not going to do
But
it.
I'd also be shocked. It wouldn't matter. Like, I can't imagine that he wouldn't be going to All In, Taz. Like, no matter what Nigel's doing, I'd be shocked if he's not at the big pay-per-view.
Yeah, I would think he's going to be there. I just don't know if he's not going to want to be there from Wednesday through Sunday night or Monday or whatever.
No, fair.
Hello, Fernando. Good to see you, dude, who thought Dynamite was boring. Not
really. I gotta, me personally, I gotta disagree. Like, if we were saying that about last week's Dynamite, I get you. I wouldn't argue. This one, for me, this hit all the fun spots.
My fucking Mac just reset.
Did it really? Oh,
yeah.
All right.
I really hope I have my notes, or we're really winging this.
I mean, I remember the show.
I know, but I write it down so I don't have to remember everything. But Fernando thought there were too many collision matches on Dynamite. That is an insult to collision because they're usually good matches over there.
I find that so interesting. Jay White versus John Moxley is pure Dynamite. I'd be willing to give you maybe like Nigel versus Hechicero felt like it could have been a collision match.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I think the trios matches were pure Dynamite.
Yeah, I thought everything was really good time. Personally, I loved tonight.
Yeah, I really enjoyed tonight.
The pull-apart brawls were good. The promos were good. The matches were good. I liked everything tonight. But, to each their own. Let's see. Derek also wants to see Claudio versus Nigel in the semis of the C3. They haven't had a singles match back since 2009.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
I love Eddie. Once upon a time, I would have salivated for Eddie versus Mox for this title.
He hasn't really looked the same since he's come back from the surgery.
Like, I know some people are attacking him physically. I know you're not.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's that for me. He's just not moving the same. He just feels like he's off. And I sympathize 100%. I am rooting for him 100%. But, like, we just saw him at Hog in person a week or so ago. He just feels like a different guy right now.
Yeah. And, we all know he's been very open about his mental health struggle. So I hope it's nothing with that either.
Yeah.
Because I love Eddie too much.
Oh, yeah. We're rooting for him as a person. We're rooting for him as a wrestler. We're just rooting for Eddie. We're in the Eddie business. We have stock in Eddie.
Yeah. Pointing out that flying after surgery sucks big time. That's why they recommend you don't do it. There's probably getting Paul White on commentary. Yeah, it could be him for not for Wembley, for Glasgow. I do think Taz shows up to Wembley. I think JR is trying to show up to Wembley. If he gets there, Taz can fucking get.
I think they all do. I think Paul White. It's their WrestleMania. I think all hands on deck.
Yeah, exactly. Fernando thought Switchblade versus Moxley was the only good thing tonight. Fair again.
I will say it was probably my favorite match.
Yes.
But I can't say it was the only good thing.
It was definitely the best match. I mean, I really liked the opener. It was just fun.
And I like Nigel versus Hechicero too. It's a different kind of fun.
Yeah.
And it's a different kind of match. But we'll get to it.
Yeah, it was very good for what it was. Derek's asking us, do we want to see Claudio versus Nigel in the semifinals? Like us personally, I would take it. It'd be good.
I would, yeah. Like I said, I think there's one of two people that are going to face Mox in the finals, and I think it's either Claudio or Nigel. And I think if it's Claudio, it's setting something up for the Death Riders, and if it's Nigel, it's probably Nigel's retirement match.
Yeah, or close to it. And I'm trying to think of who else we're going to get in the semis. Like, it's going to be one of either Orange Cassidy or Kyle O'Reilly, right? So, and then I'm trying to remember the final match in the quarters here. Oh, it's Eddie. No, what's the last one?
You're doing it.
Oh, it is Eddie versus Claudio. Okay. So,
Eddie,
I'm just
Claudio and Kyle Orange.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, well, it's going to be an interesting draw there, I think, then.
It's going to be weird because if we do get Nigel versus Claudio, that means Mox is getting a rematch between Kyle or Orange. And with Kyle, I don't think you revisit that yet, especially if Kyle's going to lose.
Yeah.
And Orange Mox has history. I don't know that you just do that in the semifinals of a tournament.
You could.
You could, and I think they probably will, but I won't lie, like, that's kind of a bummer for me. Like, Orange has already backslid a lot over the last couple of years. We've talked about this. We love him, but it feels like he's been spinning his wheels a little bit. To have him just lose this match with no build, that's a no for me, dog. I also think it's very possible we get Mox versus Claudio in the semis.
Yeah.
That way there's, like, the main reason we got Mox versus Jay White tonight was because everyone assumed Jay White was going to beat Mox. And if you do that in the finals, people are going to be hella disappointed. Here, people are able to, if you, do what happened tonight, people are going to be disappointed. So I think you do it tonight the way they did. That way it's just like a Band-Aid. You're just done with it. You just rip it off and move on.
Yeah, because I think most people, when they saw that match was announced, like, I saw it, I texted you all caps, like, what the fuck are we doing? Just because we all basically kind of assumed that was going to be the finals.
Yep.
And White was probably going to win. So I was shocked when they booked it. And a lot of people, the ones who weren't completely just selling out for Switchblade were like, yeah, Mox is winning this because there's no way they would do this now if Switch was going to win the tournament.
Yep.
Very interesting. But I think Claudio Nigel works for the next round, especially with the ankle problem with Nigel, which we'll talk about more later, just because Claudio could just attack the hell out of that thing.
Yeah.
All right. Back on track here. I try to delay as much as possible. My computer's still resetting. But I can talk a little bit about what we wanted to talk about next, which is that sit-down interview between Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay.
Yeah, of all the things to not have
all of my notes for.
That's rough for us.
Well, the one thing I can tell you without any notes is while this was good, it was long.
It was long. We talked about it before we went live. It both are true. This was a very good segment, but it was also a very long segment. And I was fed like scrumptiously because I love Kenny. I love this feud. I love what they're doing with both of these guys, but it did go for a little while. So if it wasn't your bag, you were stuck for a bit.
Yeah, and I thought they had a lot of good Easter eggs, and we can at least start with, well, what I presume was Renee's first question. I'm not 100% because there wasn't any sound until Will started answering.
Thank you. I thought there was something wrong on my end. I was like, Jesus, God. Because I had to watch on my phone for a little bit. And I was fully locked in, but I had to watch on my phone. I'm like, oh my God, my phone's acting up. Things aren't loaded properly, but thank God it was actually them. Okay.
No, it was them. And honestly, this is the worst sound night AEW's had in a long time.
Oh, there was one bit that went right before commercial where it sounded demonic on my screen.
Yeah, there was one point where I think it was during the Andrade segment, they queued up MJF's video too early on audio, and that's why I think they waited so long with his theme to finally put him on the screen. There was, when we came back from commercial after Kevin and I took out Darby, they were showing the replays and they were playing this the sound of commentary for the replays while commentary was talking over the replays. So you were getting, double Excalibur, double Taz saying two different things.
Yeah.
And that was bad.
I can tell you so the first thing I got from the interview was Will speaking on his first experience with Kenny. That
in PWG
and being very aware of his journey in Japan. He mentioned DDT, obviously going to New Japan Pro Wrestling and looking up to him. And then when Kenny was asked about his first impressions, his first exposure to Will, he said, he'll be honest, he wasn't impressed with the Will Ospreay that he wrestled. He saw that there was potential, but he really only saw a scrawny kid.
Right, which is something Will brought up. He said he was like, I was just a skinny little kid, who was in way over his head. I think going up against Kenny at that time. So, it was Kenny, bit of a backhanded compliment. He was absolutely. I didn't see anything, in him at that time.
He said he saw potential, but he wasn't impressed yet.
Wasn't impressed, yes. Yeah. So that was the first question that Renee asked. Yeah. It's an old computer. I only use it for these notes because it just sits on the side of my screen. And this is why Macs suck.
Hey, my Mac is doing just fine right now. It's an old computer. Be nice to know.
Don't update it because they'll slow it down.
Fair enough.
They lost that lawsuit, I can say that. So then I believe the next question Renee asked was about their first meeting in New Japan.
At Wrestle Kingdom 17.
Yes, in Wrestle Kingdom. She mentioned the war between United Empire and the Elite was heating up. AEW had just started, so Kenny was over here wrestling in the States, but he went back over there to face off against Ospreay. And this was full-blown, Don Callis family member Kenny. I don't know if he had really started.
Well, so no, this was after Kenny had come back. This was after Kenny had lost the world championship. Let me double check that to be 100% sure. But yes, he was still with Don, but the turn was already had already commenced. This was 2023. So this was well after his world championship reign, after being gone for several months to heal up from, his
vertigo.
I think he had a hernia at that point too. He was being held together by spit, gum, and rubber bands.
Yeah, I still can't believe he was doing all that crazy shit with fucking vertigo.
I can't walk straight. And I see perfectly fine with my contacts. But
the only other person I know of in sports who can do anything with vertigo is Jason Day, and he's a golfer. And with all due respect to Jason Day, doing a fucking Terminator dive with vertigo is a little bit harder than hitting a 3-wood off the fairway.
I mean, let's give him some credit. That is still very impressive.
Yeah, it's still incredibly difficult, but you're doing a full front flip onto a bunch of dudes from 8 feet up in the air. It's pretty.
But back to that match, Kenny acknowledges that while he had Don in his corner, and he acknowledges all the things that Don had done for him. He meant we name dropped championships that we haven't heard him name drop in a while.
Yes,
because of certain partnerships. He mentioned how Don showed him the promised land, promised him the gold, and got him the gold. The AEW gold, the IWGP gold, the TNA gold, the AAA gold. Pleasantly surprised there.
Yeah.
But he acknowledges when it came to the match with Will, Don didn't get involved. Kenny didn't need Don's help to beat Will.
Yeah, and I think that's something he mentioned, sorry to cut you off, later in the interview, but it still holds true because
you don't have your notes. I'm doing the best I can.
I know, I can kind of, I at least weirdly remember the order of operations here. Okay. But I only bring that up because Kenny was mentioning that juxtaposed to when they had their match in Canada, and Will brought out Don. And Don was the reason Will won. Don ended up using the screwdriver, or Will did, or however it went down. Screwdrivers were involved. And And, and that's why Kenny brought that up. He's like, I beat you straight up. Even though, as Will was talking about, Will was like, you embarrassed me. You kicked the shit out of me in front of everybody I respected. Never let up. I still have scars. And Kenny was like, okay, you embarrassed me in my home country.
Yep.
And I didn't use Don when I did it. So turnabout's, I guess not turnabout's fair play. He was like, you did it worse. And then Ospreay responded, of course, that he was like, that win keeps me up at night because I went out there and I couldn't get it done by myself. And everyone was saying that, and it was Don getting the win and not me. And he's like, that's the biggest regret of my career. And then,
which I thought was very important.
Yeah,
it was very important. And Kenny then follows that up by saying how much it meant to him to hear it. And while you think that's going to be like a heartwarming moment between the two of them where they could find some middle ground about past regrets and everything, Kenny turns it on its ear and acknowledges the bastard that Will Ospreay was and says that, as far as I'm concerned, this means we're not having a rubber match. I'm 2-0 against you.
Yep.
Because you can't beat me without Don Callis. Or you couldn't beat me without Don Callis. Oh, Kenny, such a good guy. Hard not to cheer for him.
Yeah, so I thought that was very good. Ooh, you rebooted. All right, let's go.
All right, I think we did pretty damn good. Round of applause from chat. We did pretty darn good not having notes.
Yeah, and hopefully they load. But yeah, I really like that. And then I think Renee started to bring up their injuries and ailments. She brings up diverticulitis. Kenny immediately cut her off. He was like, I'm tired of hearing about that from you, from Excalibur, from everybody. He's like, yes, it hurts. And I can't train the way I used to. But I've become a better wrestler because I don't just use the athleticism.
I can't eat the way I used to.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not just using my athleticism, I'm also using my brain, and that's made me better. And he goes to Will, is like, can you say that you've been better since you hurt, your neck? You had the problem with your disc, or 3 discs, rather.
Surgery.
Yeah, and Kenny doesn't believe that Ospreay can. Or that Ospreay is a better wrestler. Or even, and then Kenny's like, I'm very surprised that you have the confidence, such a chip on your shoulder, to believe that this version of you can hang with the best version of me, which I am right now.
He's so good.
Yeah.
He's so good.
I'm trying to remember what Will said after that. I know he responded, but I can't remember. But I do know, to close this out, Kenny began involving family members. Started.
Fair game.
James and I are going to vehemently disagree on this. I don't believe family members are fair game.
Look,
I mean, Windsor is kind of an exception because she is a wrestler.
Yes.
And she has introduced herself into Ospreay's business before, or, has asked to be a part of it, or whatever you want to call it. But Kenny then brought up Will's son.
Hey.
And Ospreay sprung up out of his seat and security held him back. And then Kenny said, like, the only thing I'm really he brought up actually Will's mother first
about being proud of him. And,
yes. Well, he just said, well, your mother, and then Will shot up. He's like, you fucking keep her name out your mouth. And then Kenny's like, relax. What I was gonna say is no matter what happens, your mother will still be proud of you. And then he goes, the only thing I'm worried about is your son, because he might be looking for a new hero after you lose. Which is, what are you doing, man?
Hey, look, let's be real. If the children are brought into the canon that is professional wrestling, they're fair game. So as far as I'm concerned, the Bucks kids, fair game. Renee, fair game. Noelle Foley, fair game. Frank the Clown, gun for him. All of these people, absolutely fair. Dax's daughter, fair game. Mama Wayne, please be fair game. All of these people, if you get brought into it, you're fair game. Kenny was expressing concern. He doesn't want Will's son to lose out on a hero. How is Kenny the bad guy here?
There's just like Sue fair game.
Yes, Sue's fair game. I miss that woman so much.
If you bring up Sue, though, you're gonna get hit with the papers, and you have to sell for
They're
Sue.
back, baby.
Let's go. Are
Ken
they really?
is with them.
Oh, really?
Ken
I know.
is with- so it's
Sue was like a
trio-
double champ in MLP.
Yeah. So, it's the trio. It's 10, and Alan Angels is like he's circling.
Nice.
I think we're getting a resurgence of Dark Order soon.
Give it to me. More papers. More
Yes,
Sue.
Sue and the minivan, fair game.
Sell for Sue. God, I miss Brody.
I miss Brody so much.
I miss Brody, and I miss those episodes of being the elite. Like, I know the pandemic was awful, and we're probably working in Daly's place caused a lot of logistical issues, but it created such good content for BCE and Sammy's vlog.
Such a special time with special people.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's as much as I can really remember about this. It's still fucking tiny, man.
Christ, you know it.
I saw that. I'm just going to leave it.
Wow.
But I will bring up a different one. Hornswoggle, fair game. Vince's Bastards is on Hornswoggle.
Oh my gosh.
For the record, I understand that if you bring somebody up in wrestling, like they're fair game to talk about in wrestling, like non-kayfabe, I'm cool with it. I'm kayfabe.
Just talking. We're just talking.
I'm kayfabing right now. You don't
if
talk
there's
about
anybody, if there's
things.
anybody though that deserves like a legitimate, like, you know what, I'd give him a pile driver. It's Bryan Danielson's kids. They're the reason Bryan retires.
No, yeah, it wasn't his neck or the rest of his body falling apart. It was.
You tell me if he didn't have kids, would that matter?
It can probably matter less, but he has said that he didn't want to go out there and not be able to give the fans, the matches they want from him. He would be a lesser version of himself.
All I'm saying is he'd be at All In right now.
He might be.
If it wasn't for Birdie and Buddy.
He might be. He just might be on the mic. Although, we'll see what happens because his wife only has one arm at the moment. So
Christ.
She might need some help. Okay, so we had that whole interview, and when my notes hopefully come back up, we could talk about it a little bit more later. But let's hit the main event of the evening. So that was the return of the Elites. The Elite. Freaking out. Oh, wrong thing. And full-blown Kenny and the Young Bucks facing off against Don Callis family members, Jake Doyle, Mark Davis, and El Clon, whose neck continues to amaze me and the things he can do.
El Clon, who has wrestled more matches on AEW TV than Hologram at this point.
I know, like, it sucks because Hologram is also so good, and I'm so excited for that feud whenever it happens because it's going to be such good lucha things. Yeah. But I don't know what Hologram did, but he apparently messed himself up.
He messed himself up.
So hopefully he gets better soon.
Yeah.
But this match, James, it was fun. It was fine, but it was just like the Elite's greatest hits. I didn't feel like they took that much heat. Like we came back from commercial and Matt was down and pretty much hot tagged pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then they came in and just kind of ran house again.
Yeah.
And it was fine. Like, it was fun. I didn't hate it.
I don't know. Like, I felt the same about this that I felt about the first trios match of the night. I wasn't expecting much because it's more about, okay, we just wanted these guys to have a match and to get a win and to get everything. I thought this was far more about the story. Like, Kenny not coming out with the Bucks was frustrating to me. I was like, we're missing out on an Elite entrance. But then I understand why.
I wanted Wayward Son so bad.
Yeah. Or even just the BTE music. I just like the visual of the three of them together. But then I saw why. And it's Will Ospreay confronts Kenny backstage before he makes his entrance.
A side note, also, too, the Will had his own entrance as well. So it wasn't just...
no, of course. But I expect him to have a different entrance than the rest of the United Empire guys. I hope and expect for Kenny to come out with the Bucks. But
fair.
regardless of that, I understood it was to set up that moment with Kenny and Ospreay, and I get that. And likewise, the match itself was fine. It was fine, but it was the stuff that came after that was far, far more important.
Yeah, and the end of the match here was basically just, the elite eliting. Kenny hit Snapdragon suplexes on to Davis and Clone, and then that's at the bottom of the ring. He tried to hit one onto Doyle, but he failed, and Doyle got out of it, and he walked right into a double super kick from the Bucks, and then fell back into the Snapdragon suplex. The Bucks then hit topes on to Davis and Clone on the outside as Kenny threw Doyle into the ropes. He then hit a big old V-trigger onto Doyle, put some extra stank on that one, and then got him up and hit the one-winged angel.
And we also got a nice triple super kick, Kenny and the Bucks.
Oh, yes, he did hit I forgot they hit the Too Sweet triple super kick party before the V-trigger and the topes. So good call there. So yeah, like I said, just classic elite. It was enjoyable. It was nice to see them together again in the ring. They're still all smooth as hell. The chemistry's still there. Why won't this sign in? But
please.
It wasn't anything groundbreaking.
No, but it was fine. And again, the real meat of it was what came after, which was post-match celebration, Kenny and the Elite celebrating, and they get jumped by all the other members of the Don Callis family. Not all the other members, but a good amount of them.
Yeah, you had Lance Archer come back out. He was joined by Roppongi Vice, so Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero, who's also back out. Beatdown begins. Davis was still good enough to join the brawl as well. Clone kind of wasn't. I guess I don't know where he was. Yeah. So you have Davis and Archer pretty much holding court in the ring while Trent and Rocky went underneath the ring and pulled out a table. Presumably, it looked like for Kenny Omega.
Yes.
That's what it looked like they were setting up.
It's on commentary side.
Yes. Then Adam Copeland comes out and for the save, and he's doing all right. He's punching everybody, but the numbers game eventually overwhelms him.
Christian watching on the ramp.
Yes, as that happens, Christian Cage is on the ramp like, do I really want to go help these pricks? But
he's looking at Cope like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, well, like, why are you helping our opponents? Why are you helping these guys I don't like who cause us to lose in Mexico City? What are you doing? But eventually he sees Cope getting shit kicked out of him, so he's like, all right, I got to go down and help. And he goes down there. He's actually clearing house pretty well. He's got the cast on still, so that helps a bit.
Low blow to Trent Beretta.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job. And he then sees the Bucks starting to get up, so he holds Trent, and the Bucks go for the double super kick. Trent gets out of the way, and they lay Christian out.
Well, no, the thing is, though, wasn't he initially going for the kill switch?
Was he? You know me, I'm typing.
I thought he was initially going for the kill switch. He grabbed him for it, but then Trent ducked it, and then as they were going for the super kick, and they hit Christian. Maybe I misread it, but that's what I thought it was.
Either way, he did have Trent by the arms and he was facing the Bucks. So whether he was trying to turn for the kill switch or he just was holding them, he doesn't matter. Trent ducked it and Christian got kicked in the face.
Yeah.
Cope sees this. He gets up. He's all, what the hell? Starts shoving the Bucks. The Bucks are like, dude, we weren't going after him. We're going after Trent. And of course, this all leads to them getting their asses handed to them for a second as Davis just came in and started just hitting everything that moved. Eventually, everyone starts brawling into the back, Cope and Cage, the Young Bucks, and all the Don Callis family members. And that leaves Kenny Omega in the ring by himself. And for some reason, with the microphone. But before he can say anything, Ospreay's music hits, and he comes out, and he's like, all right, Kenny, you said you wanted to tell me something after the match. I'm here. You won. Say it to my face. And before Ospreay gets in the ring, Kenny goes, well, Ospreay, the only thing I have to say to a person like you is security, come get this douchebag.
Honestly, I get it. I agree with him. He's an EVP of this company. He knows he needs to protect the company's main event for their biggest show. He's being responsible right now.
not that I want to join your side here, but we've seen security throughout the night holding Ospreay back. Kenny is fairly within his rights here to request security come back out again. What he was not in his rights to do was to tell Will that, he should go ahead and tuck his tail and run away like the scalded dog he is. And by scalded dog, I mean he called him
a little English bitch.
And so Will kind of stops on the ramp and he smiles and he's got the two security guards behind him, these poor dudes. And he just goes, all right, now I'm going to kick the shit out of you. And he turns, beelines back into the ring, double legs Kenny, and just starts laying in ground and pound. And then until these two schmuck security guards come over and pull Ospreay off. Now they pull him up,
restraining him.
Yes, they pull him up by the arms and they're restraining him. And that leaves Kenny to hit a completely unprotected V-trigger. This lays Will out. And now Kenny's like maniacally laughing. And he tosses the security guys out and he grabs the mic and he's like, all right, Will, time to teach you one more lesson. And he drags Will over.
All while basically cackling.
Yes. So he takes Will over to the apron near the table. He grabs the title and he's like, you see this? It's the last time you're ever going to see this, you son of a bitch. And he takes Will up on the apron, gets him up on his shoulders, and hits a one-winged angel through the table from the apron to the floor. And Kenny just pops up, and I think it was Derek who pointed this out earlier. He might have
glitched.
Yep, maybe muttering some words in Japanese. I couldn't understand what he was saying. Yeah. So
I assumed it was Japanese, but maybe he did glitch.
Yeah, and he just had that old school anime villain Kenny Omega look on his face. And he grabbed his title and held it up in the ring while Ospreay was just dead on the floor.
Yep.
So, yeah, anime villain Kenny is back.
Whoa. Let's not use the term villain. Villain is a very derogatory word.
I took that phrase from you.
In the past, these were the actions of an embittered mentor, a betrayed friend, and I don't blame Kenny whatsoever. I remember that screwdriver to the head. I remember. Do you remember? I remember.
Pepper's Farm remembers.
Oh yeah, remember berries.
All right. First of all, I said this in the opening. You are more delusional than Maria right now.
I understand Maria. I understand Maria on a very real level.
I'm aware you do.
While you read the comments, I will be right back.
Okay. But go ahead. I was just going to say for me personally that this version of Kenny is always so much fun. He is A, hilarious, B, literally willing to murder people. Adam Cole died because Kenny ordered it. And the wild-eyed Kenny that we saw after he put Will through the table is the one, we saw in New Japan, the one we saw leading the Bullet Club and ordering things like executions. So I'm very excited to see him back because the face Kenny versus face Will thing, it would have worked. It would have been a great match, but this Kenny versus this Will is something I desperately have wanted to see. So I'm super excited to go and watch it. All right, let's see. We had a bunch of comments here. Let me just change the banner. Okay, let's get it. See, Derek's saying, let's see, his favorite Claudio Nigel was a Ring of Honor Pure title match at ROH Final Battle 2005. Claudio had a full head of hair. Claudio Nigel in Glasgow, the battle of two Europeans. That would be a great match, especially, again, with Nigel's ankle. I think that could be a lot of fun. Saying I've been watching my AEW with the Roku app. It's kind of nice not having picture-in-picture and only a few commercials. You get the full match with little interference. I have heard great things from people who do not use either good old cable or HBO like I do, where you get to have the full matches. I've seen clips of what goes on in between those commercial breaks with the announce desk and how it basically turns into AEW Dark again. So I've heard great things about it. I haven't gotten my AEW yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to. I gotta figure out if it's on any of my streaming devices, whether it's my Xbox, my TV. Could maybe try my Amazon Fire Stick, but then I'd have to move it all the time. So I've heard great things. I'm glad you're enjoying that setup there. Let's see. It's saying they were showing Kenny quite a bit with Don. Interesting. See, Derek saying SmackDown is in his hometown of Toronto at Scotiabank, but he cannot go. That sucks, dude. And I say that sucks just because WWE events or AEW events, wrestling events live are always so much better and a lot of fun. SmackDown can be cool. Me, I'm not the biggest WWE fan, but some fun stuff is happening on SmackDown. I'll give them a lot of credit for that opening segment last week with Nick Aldis and Chelsea and Gunther and I almost said Zack Ryder. Well, yeah, him / Matt Cardona. Like, that was a great segment last week, and it would have been really fun to see live. Would have probably been really good in Toronto, considering Chelsea's from Canada. I don't know where they were last week, so forgive me. But, hopefully you get the one soon, dude. If not, try to check out a local indie. I don't know if MLP, Maple Leaf Pro is running. They're running in Maple Leaf Gardens. So maybe you could try to get a ticket to that. That might be a little bit cheaper. I would definitely try to get to an event as soon as you can. Let's see. The entire Dudley's family are fair game. Does that include Spike? Fernando, I'm over trios matches. I'm skipping them from now on. Again, I'm going to disagree. I like trios matches. I can understand that you might think AEW is overusing them a little bit. Like, they are a bit of a crutch that AEW leans on to get as many people into matches as they can, especially considering the number of factions they have. But I usually think for the most part, they're good matches. So if they're not your style, fair, as we always say, to each their own. But I like the ones tonight. I like the opening one a lot more than the latter one, just because I thought it had a little more depth to it past the elite does elite things, but both matches were still very well wrestled. See, Derek's bringing up again that Kenny snapped. I concur. See, all right, what a prediction. Of course, James isn't here for it. This is what's going to happen. Don's going to help Kenny. Don and Kenny get back together, and then something happens with Ellen DeGeneres for some reason. Oh, because she's hiding in England. Oh, okay. See, they're saying, have we watched the Snack Wars with the over on Sports Bible? I did see that Claudio was in one. I heard it was hilarious. I saw clips of the Blake Monroe one, but I haven't watched any clips of the Claudio one yet because I heard it's so funny. So I want to sit down and watch it in full. I just haven't had an opportunity. They're saying Punk and KO this Friday in Toronto. That is true. That should be a good match. They were Boston on Friday. Okay. Thank you. So I think it would have been cool in Toronto to have the Chelsea thing again because it's Canada, but Boston usually a decent crowd. Fernando was saying, there's just way too many trios matches. And again, I'm not going to disagree. Like I said, they are a crutch AEW leans on. I just don't hate them as much as you do, or the consistency of them. See, just saw this on Twitter. Eddie Kingston challenged Hechicero for the CMLL World Heavyweight Championship. Ooh, interesting. That could be cool. I think that will be cool. I wonder if that's going to be, or where that's going to be. Probably down in Mexico. Eddie's been doing a few more indies lately, so I would imagine that's down in CMLL. Fernando also saying that he is so tired of Don getting involved in Will and Kenny's stories. I also agree with that. I mentioned earlier when James was talking about how he was not loving, one of the versions of the Don Callis family when they were facing Kenny and Jericho. And I was like, I think that was just more fatigue of, at least for me, of Kenny especially being involved with Don for so long. And now between Don reigniting his issues with Kenny, which, look, they're always going to have their issues unless it's right and they get back together. but we don't need to see them in the forefront as much. And now he's going after Will again, which is like, okay, that ended after the Fletcher steel cage match, but we're still doing this again. And I understand Don the narcissist sticking his nose into it. Like, at least it works on a character level, but it has been a little exhausting. I'm glad, hopefully this is the end of it. Like, they had these 2 matches tonight. Each team took care of business, and Don just butts out because he's dealing more with the Okada to catch the Fletcher stuff. That's what I'm hoping. Let's see. All right. Darren's saying, I hope Claudio gets his CMLL World Heavyweight title back. The Grand Prix 13 years ago came down to Claudio and Hechicero. Pac and Claudio were in the Final Four before they eliminated Mystico. Cool. I'm glad you give me all the CMLL updates. I've heard that that Grand Prix has been pretty good. So hopefully you've been enjoying it. All right, James still isn't back yet. I've stolen long enough, and my computer still is freaking working, so I'm resetting it. But we can kind of try to move on here. Next up, we had another comment. Good saving. I know you're teasing him, yeah, but it's been funny. Keep doing it. Hopefully, he doesn't see that comment. But yeah, no, I don't think they're going to get back together either. There's a chance at some point, but I don't really think they will. Okay, so there we go, more stuff. Is James back? He will be back now. Yes, he is. Hi, James.
I heard that, you know it. I heard that.
Keep the kayfabe.
Wait, what? What? I don't watch the show. What? What's happening?
Paul, you think I watched the show? All right, let's head back up top. This thing's still bugging, so we'll figure it out in a sec. All right. Good night, Derek. Good to see you, man.
Later, pal.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm not going to be able to cover Death Before Dishonor the night of, but I am going to cover it over the course of the weekend. So stay tuned this upcoming weekend for Death Before Dishonor.
Yep. Make sure you subscribe so you can catch that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's, like I said, head back to the top of the show. So after we had the initial trios match, we had a backstage interview with Kazuchika Okada. So Renee was asking him essentially about what happened last week in terms of Don announcing that there would be a trios match for the international title at All In between Okada, Fletcher, and Takeshita. And she asked him about Fletcher's reaction to it. And Okada basically was like, look, what I said last week was true. Family is the most important thing. You know, Don has helped us all a lot, and I know Kyle believes the same thing, that the most important thing is the title staying in the family. But if I win, if Okada wins, he said, then I would, well, first he says that he would be happy for Fletcher if Fletcher won. And he would hope that Fletcher would be happy for him, and he would expect Fletcher to raise his hand. So then we headed back to the ring. Tony Schiavone's there.
Good guy, Big Kazu, by the way, right? Good guy, Okada.
Yes, he's been very agreeable to Don Callis lately.
Very supportive.
Yes. Big family guy, Okada.
Family values, just an overall good guy.
Lucky he's a family guy.
I don't want to sing it because we'll get in trouble.
Yeah. Anyway, after that, we headed back into the ring where Tony Schiavone was there, and he introduced the international champion himself, Kyle Fletcher. And Schiavone asked Fletcher about what Okada just said. And Fletcher basically kind of echoed the same thing. He was like, you know what? Okada is right. We have to put the family first. And he's like, I trust Don Callis. And he's like, I really do, because everyone booed him when he said that. He had to convince not only the crowd, but kind of not himself. And he was like, no, I really do. He's like, I trust Don. He's helped me so much. I'm sure he has a plan. But Okada needs to know his role. And of course, I'm sure every wrestling fan in the world then just went and shut his damn mouth. But he was like, he needs to know his role. and watch my back to make sure I retain the international championship.
It's funny. Keep going. But I really got thoughts on this.
Yes. So then Fletcher's like, as for Takeshita, the one thing that Okada and I can 100%, or the other thing Okada and I can agree on, is that we both hate Takeshita. He calls him arrogant, he calls him selfish, and he's continuing to just rip into Takeshita. And he's like, I don't even know where he is right now. He's probably at home licking his wounds after losing the G1. And as he continues to call him certain disparaging adjectives, of course, Takeshita's music hits, and he returns to AEW. And he doesn't say a word. He just comes down to the ring. He takes his beater off. Kyle takes his jacket off. Takeshita gets in the ring, and they just start duking it out. Takeshita gets an early upper hand when he hits a Blue Thunder Bomb. He then went for the power drive knee, but Fletcher dodged it. The two start going back and forth again with big strikes until Takeshita pushes Fletcher into the turnbuckles. And then he hit a Poison Rana, which I did not know he could do. Somebody picked up something in the G1. And then he hit the power drive knee and Raging Fire. And then he grabbed Fletcher's title, kind of looked at it, stood over Fletcher, raising it up, and then left it in the ring. And he went back up, and Fletcher was like, what the fuck just hit me?
You know what energy you just gave? They fly now? They fly now. Like, that was, you can do that now?
Oh, what is that from? They fly now? Oh.
Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Oh, right, yeah, with the
Stormtroopers.
Yep. But hey, man, Takeshita's back. I'm hyped. And I'm very interested in this build here, too, because Okada's not a weird character, but he's always a very interesting character because of how he plays Don, where when he was going up against Takeshita and there was that whole thing, Takeshita was the one always respecting Don and trying to do what he said and play fair with Okada.
Well, Okada was actively fucking around.
Yes, Okada was actively annoying Don to piss Takeshita off.
Yes.
Now he's doing the opposite, where he is echoing everything Don is saying. He's like, whether or not it's I win the title or Kyle wins the title, it doesn't matter. It stays in the family because it's all about the family. And, and then Kyle's like, he's pissed at Don for, making this match. And then even though he's kind of walked that back this week, and he's pissed at Okada for just butting in. So it's been hilarious to see how Okada has been just needling these guys in the build up to their match. And then you throw Takeshita into the mix, and your odds drastically go down of retaining the title.
No, I agree. And it's sort of what I was going to bring up a second ago, but you nailed it pretty succinctly. I don't know where this goes, and I appreciate that. Logic dictates Okada is the shit heel here because he's being so obviously disingenuous. Meanwhile, Fletcher is being genuine, but he's also just kind of coming across as an asshole.
Yeah, because he is.
Which he is. So I don't know that either of these guys end up leaving the Don Callis family here. I wonder if this opens the door to Takeshita winning back the title. So I don't know what they do. I think they've created a scenario where any one of these three guys can win. And I would be like, yeah, no, that makes sense. And I'm excited to see what's next.
Yeah, it works. No, you're right. All three works. Fletcher retaining, it works. It makes sense. He continues this great run, and we're all cool with it. And we see how that plays within the family. Okada wins, and then Fletcher's probably going to go nuclear. Yep. I swear to God, listening to George W. Bush when I was a kid, fucked me up on that word.
No, for me, again, we were just singing the theme song, Family Guy. Because they do a bit where Peter doesn't know if it's nuclear or nuclear. And he's just like, nuclear? What is it? And it's been decades, and now I have that internal debate every time I say the word.
Do you know what fixed me? The new Get Smart. Where where Alan Arkin just yells at the president, "It's nuclear." So that's how I remember. That's literally what I just did. But he's gonna, blow up probably at Dawn and at Okada at some point, and that could lead to him leaving the family, or he just, or he kind of just pockets it and then it comes up later. Like, we'll see. It simmers
I think
underneath.
the bigger thing is, it feels like Okada is long overdue to challenge for the world title.
Yeah.
And arguably, Fletcher, too, is very much on the rise to the world title as well. I know there are many people online who love taking shots at AEW that will say, like, they signed Okada to have him be a mid-carder. And it's like, obviously, that's a bad faith take on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I do understand the thought of, all right, it is Okada. Why isn't he at least challenging for the world title?
I don't think he has, right?
I don't think he has either. I think it's been consistently the Continental, International, and just that whole rigmarole. Like the Undisputed for a little while. Or no, not the Undisputed. It was the Unified.
Yes.
So, he just hasn't lost. He just hasn't lost. So, do you want to be undefeated in the mid-card? Or do you want to maybe miss a shot or two at the world title? Like
he's lost a couple. He has lost a couple.
He has. But even the people he's lost to are people that it's like, he lost to Bryan Danielson.
Yeah. He lost to him. Who do you lose to? Takeshita?
He lost to Takeshita. I think he lost to Mox once.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to remember was he in the... Oh, well, he won the C2 the 1 year, and then...
I think he won the C2 2 years in a row.
Yeah, he won it. No, he lost it this past year, didn't he?
Was that it?
Well, no, now I'm going to be like, who the hell won it?
The Continental had to be Mox, because Mox is still champ.
Well, because I think Okada advanced to the finals. Oh, yeah, I guess he did, and he must have lost the Mox. Yeah, he lost the Mox. But he advanced... In my head, I'm like, he advanced in the finals because... he stole the screwdriver that Fletcher had planted.
Yeah. He made it to the finals where he defended against Mox and lost.
Yes, Mox. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But
exactly. Well, we named three guys and they're all at the top, they're all at the top of the card. So, So, yeah, it's been interesting. And let's not joke around about these two titles. Like, the International and the Continental are
the workhorse belts. Yeah, they're valued belts that put him in a position to have very high profile matches.
Yeah, they mean a lot more than like the US title does over in WWE, or even the Intercontinental title now.
Who's the Intercontinental champion right now?
Exactly. It's Gable.
It is Gable. All right, he is having bangers though.
He is.
Gable
I'm not saying he's not.
Gable is killing it. But
back when it was basically just the WWE Championship and the Intercontinental title meant a lot more.
Yeah.
You had dudes who were top of the card guys winning that title. Shawn had it. I'm assuming Bret had it. Ultimate Warrior had it. Like, guys, those type of guys. So Razor Ramon had it for a long time, even though I know he somehow never won the fucking world title.
I think what's even more egregious is he didn't win it in WCW.
Yes, he just never won one, which is
like it sucks, but I get him not winning it in WWE. How he never won it in WCW is insane.
Yeah, I don't get that one either. So I think these are, they're higher prestige titles than quote unquote mid card titles.
Yeah,
the TNT is mid card. The national title is mid card, even though Andrade is holding it. Yeah. So. And depending on who holds which one, sometimes the International is above the Continental and vice versa.
I think the idea is the International and Continental are for main eventers who aren't world champion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what they're for. Yeah. Although, it disagrees. He says the IC Championship is still more valuable than these overkill titles in AEW that shouldn't exist. think it's on the same level as like the TNT title. Like that makes sense in my head. Yeah.
When it's used right, it's on the same level as the International and the Continental. When it's used how it's usually used, TNT level.
Fair.
The US title is just nothing.
Yeah, which sucks. I like it.
I mean, I'm happy Corbin is thriving right now, but yeah.
Happy Corbin. All right. Some comments here. Fernando pointing out, James, that your facial hair grows back really fast.
Why, thank you.
It does.
Yes, I have been shaving since I was 9 or 10 years old. And
were you one of those kids, like, your beard would go back so fast that, like, one of the brothers at your Catholic school would make you go shave midday through the day?
The first time I shaved was an accident. Like, when I was growing up, like, I would always, like, play pretend shave with my dad. And then, like, I would keep, like, the plastic, like, protector on it.
Guard on, yeah.
Yeah. And then one day I did it, and I did it without the guard, thinking that the guard was there. And I accidentally shaved whatever little peach fuzz I had. And then it got thicker and darker. And then being at Catholic high schools, they were very much, how dare you? No, you're not allowed to have facial hair. So I had to shave it consistently. And now I look like the freaking Wolfman. So I would very much like to thank my high school for that.
All of them.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. You know what's saying? I like Don, though. Who else gets booed and fuck you chants when they're not even at the show? Who else gets that? I can't think of anyone in current wrestling.
I legitimately, and I fought people about this verbally, of course, because we don't throw hands here. I've fought people. I genuinely think Don Callis is better than Paul Heyman. Like, I want to say Paul at his absolute peak was probably better than Don ever was at his peak. But I think Don of today is far better than the Paul of the last 5, almost 10 years.
I guess. And Paul, it's weird. Paul isn't on TV as much, or hadn't been for a long time. I guess he is now, because Brock wasn't there and Punk wasn't there.
Yeah, but then he was with Roman and the Tribal Chief for the last 5 years too.
Right. That was what I was going to say. Up until that point, he did great work with Roman, but he was basically focused on just one dude, you know. Like, I know that the bloodline was around him, but it was basically he was there for Roman. So as opposed to Don, who is getting all these different dudes over.
That is a good point. Yeah, that is a very good point.
You know, like, he has a kind of an odd mishmash of a group, but
yep, no, that's a good point.
You know, he's able to work with so many people and so many different types of people.
Yeah.
Whereas Heyman's worked with 3 dudes, like, mainly, and then he started working with Seth, and that was okay. And then Seth goes out, so then he's just working with the Vision, and then that all kind of fell apart too because the Vision is cursed. As opposed to Paul, you know, Don over here. All right, some more stuff. Yes,
I'm just gonna say the reason I stand by that point. If you had seen one Paul Heyman Brock Lesnar promo for like the last 5 years of their relationship, you'd seen all of them. I don't think Don really repeats his stuff. He's got his funny bits, like he does the Spanish introduction for Hechicero, which
it's so good.
But like, he's not really repeating promos, as opposed to Paul. The reigning, the defending, the conqueror, like all that stuff. And I get it was part of the shtick. I get it. But it got to a point that it's like, I'm not hearing anything new from Paul. And again, I'm standing by Paul at his best. Probably, almost certainly better than Don at his best. But I think it's been a very long time since Paul was at his best. I think he's capable of it. I just don't think he's brought it out. So that's where I am on it. The Paul Heyman character is fantastic when he's allowed to be, or when he feels like being fantastic.
And I think you hit the nail on the head right there at the end. A lot of the reason I think Paul gets repetitive sometimes is he just kind of phones it in, because he can do that with Brock.
Oh, yeah.
Brock Lesnar's going to go out there. He's going to send insert wrestler here to Suplex City and then, hit 8 F5s and win, or hit 1 F5 or however many he wants and win.
I
thought he was good with the Oba stuff.
He was fantastic. He was great. He's great when he's putting over Brock's opponents because it makes Brock look that much more dangerous.
Samoa Joe.
Yeah. All of them. But I'm also going to throw this out there. I think Paul has failed with more people than Don has failed with. Like, he failed with Claudio / Cesaro. He failed with Ryback and Curtis Axel. And I know it's not fair to put all of that on him because he was serving a role and was doing what was needed that was asked of him from booking. But I don't think Don has failed guys the way Paul has failed guys. And like, you could throw me for today, a Rocky Romero or a Trent Beretta. But they're also clearly there to be the losers of the group. Yeah. But the amount of people that stock has risen since being with him, Takeshita went from being the sometimes sidekick of the elite to the ace. To the alpha, I mean. Kyle Fletcher completely transformed into a star under Don Callis. Mark Davis has seen success. Doyle, Brian Cage, guys that were kind of directionalists feel important under Callis. I can't say that for everyone with Paul. Like, they're actively talking about how much nothing happened with him in the Vision. And do I blame him for that? Not necessarily. It's hard to get Austin Theory over. We've had almost a decade of trying at this point.
One person managed it. It was Gargano.
That it was. That he was. But all I'm saying is, I don't think it's as one-sided as people give credit for. And all that said, we are ignoring Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah. And look, like, obviously, you're saying Hammond's on Mount Rushmore. Of course he's on Mount Rushmore. So is Heenan. Don's also there now.
Yeah, I put him there.
He's been that good. And you can quibble about, whether, you want to rank them 1, 2, 3. But Don he's been up there, man. Yes, he can also be a little repetitive at times. But, he's been so good in AEW. He's been great. Get Smart on my 60. I was talking about the new one with Michael Scott,
Steve
Carell, and Anne Hathaway and The Rock. Like, that's where the reference is. But
that said, I did watch the original Get Smart too.
I didn't, but I will reference the missed it by that much. Because I do a good Inspector Gadget impression. So it works out. Well, Paulie Dangerously so much better than Cyrus the Virus. Yeah, different character though.
Yeah, no, I agree. Paul at his best was better, but he's not Cyrus anymore.
Yeah, exactly. He's Don, and Don right now, for the most part, I think is better. He's more consistent. I'll say that.
Yeah.
All right. So after Kyle spoke, we went to commercial. We came back with the Omega and Ospreay interview. We talked about that. And then we went into our TBS Championship 4-way match. So it was Maya World defending her title against Kris Statlander, Persephone, and Hikaru Shida. Still waiting on my notes here, but
no fucking way.
I rebooted it, and it's just gonna take forever.
Wow,
it's old, man. There's a reason I just don't turn it off, and something happened with Chrome and it overloaded, and
that's insane.
It's probably trying to get the crash report,
gotcha.
while it's signing in, so and it's just taking forever. It's not gonna go probably until I go to bed tonight. So we're just gonna have to wing this whole thing.
I think we've been doing pretty well so far.
Yeah, but I like this match a lot. Maya was able to retain. She countered a Saturday Night Fever into a roll up after Stat was just basically running through her. But it looked good. I like that. I liked the breakup of the pin she had right before that finishing sequence where Statlander hit a power bomb on Persephone, and then Stat went for the stack up pin, and Maya hit a 450 to break it up. So that was really cool. Statlander doing the kip up out of the pin attempt from Persephone and going right into the Shida knee was also a really cool sequence. So a lot of good stuff from these women. It got a "This is awesome" chant from the crowd, and they weren't in the time slot of death.
Yep.
So
win.
Yes, good stuff from all these women here tonight.
I was surprised. I guess I shouldn't have been, but I was surprised by the finish.
I was a little trepidatious in terms of, or suspicious of Maya losing tonight, but I think they want her to take the title into All In. I'm just curious to see what they do now. Like this, we kind of mentioned it last week. This seemed like the match they might have been setting up for All In.
Arguably should have been.
Yes. Now what? Right? Like now, where does the TBS title go from here?
Yeah.
I know what Maya's doing on Saturday, but in terms of, where does the TBS title go from here as we get to All In? Yeah. Like, what type of match do we have there? Who's your opponent? Who can they bring in? Whether it's a heel or a face or a name or whatever, and end up facing off against her. The only person who wasn't involved in this match that's been involved around the TBS title is Thunder Rosa. But she's faced, and I don't know if that's who we get.
Yeah.
I did hear a rumor.
What's the rumor?
Well, a certain producer boy mentioned a certain doctor might be returning. Now, I didn't confirm that, but...
See, I'd be happy to have that doctor back, but do you lean into her just being a heel? Like it's hard because she's going to be coming back, and a big part of her coming back is supporting Rebel.
Right.
And I do not want anything. Like, I know fans are cool when they want to be, but like, I don't want to confuse any matters here,
Yeah.
And if you have her come back as a face and then beat Maya for the title, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot out the gate.
I guess in a way, yeah, that makes sense. Like, especially like you had one, story with Maya and her brother passing on the one side, and then you have everything going on with Rebel on the other side. Almost said Reboot, but which would have worked because we are talking about Britt. But yeah, no reason to like try to compare or those stories or make them compete or anything. But if she does come back, I think the TBS division like that area of the card would be best for her at the moment.
I'd agree. I'd say if Britt Baker is coming back, tag division or TBS.
Yeah. Tag
Don't
would
know
work
who
too.
she tags with. Don't know who she tags with, but the tag division or TBS. And I personally very hopeful she comes back. Genuinely. I don't want her end of era in AEW to be what it was.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to see her back too. I know a lot of people would probably argue that she did, look a step or two slower the last time she was in the ring, which might, lend her going over to the tag division to make sure she doesn't have to do as much as she gets herself,
situated.
back situated. Yeah. Help her get her feet wet a little bit. So, maybe that works, but I think it'd be fun to have her back. She's still such a good character.
She was such an integral part to the foundation of the women's division. She was the first woman signed to AEW. She was signed before Brandy was.
Yeah.
On that alone, I would like for her to come back, finish that. Even if it's just for a brief run to finish the story on good terms, I would love that. But I will also like to give her the chance to prove people wrong. She may never be the best worker in the company, and that's fine. She doesn't have to be, because she is still a better promo than most of the roster. So at the very least, give us MJF versus DMD. Very least.
Other than that,
we'll see. But fun little match, this 4-way. Good for Maya World. How nuts would it be? She runs the gamut, wins the title on Saturday too, and just goes to All In double champ. Champ.
Don't think that
anything's possible now.
Let's see. Fernando is very convinced that Persephone should have won this match and the title. No, a lot of people are high on her, and with good reason. She's been great.
Yeah.
He also says if it's true that WWE is heavily interested in Persephone, Tony better stop playing with himself and lock her up very soon.
She is signed. She is.
Oh, she is all elite. She was, and that's recent, at least as of this year. I think it happened. Her and Hechicero, I think, signed
relatively around the same time.
Yeah, AEW contract the same day. They were on like this. They're on the front page of Squared Circle the same day.
The thing that a lot of people forget, and I understand because WWE does a good job of promoting AAA, and AEW arguably doesn't do the best job of promoting CMLL. I don't think they do a bad job, but they don't promote it.
But they also don't own it.
No, for sure. But they clearly have a relationship where a lot of their talent are holding friggin' CMLL belts.
Yeah, and it was mentioned tonight that Hechicero is the CMLL heavyweight champion.
For sure.
It was mentioned that Persephone is a CMLL champion.
Thunder Rosa is too.
Yeah, she has that Mexico championship.
Yeah,
that she wore it last week on Dynamite.
Yeah.
So,
but my point for saying that is Persephone isn't just signed to AEW. She is also signed to CMLL, where they are in first position for her. Now, in terms of contract speak, first position means if you're booked for one thing, two things, whoever is in first position gets priority. CMLL is the priority for Persephone. And that might not last all that long. Once contracts are redone and certain things run out, maybe Persephone will then prioritize AEW over CMLL. But I understand if I'm Tony Khan, not strapping a rocket to somebody who has to split their time with me. Takeshita dropped the international title because he was in the G1 for New Japan.
Yeah, and part of that, it's the storyline works.
Yes.
And B, Tony let him go do that. Like, Takeshita is first and foremost signed to AEW, and then all of his other contracts, which I think are New Japan and DDT.
Yes, and similarly, Nick Wayne dropped the ROH TV title to AR Fox, who dropped it to Leo Rush, because he went to the Best of the Super Juniors tournament for New Japan.
And he's also carried that title in the Best of Super Juniors.
Yes.
Nick Wayne has.
But they just didn't want to do that again this time, which I understand and I respect.
And Nick is also not signed to New Japan for the record. Takeshita is.
Yes.
But similar to Persephone, it's a secondary contract.
So for Persephone, I get not strapping a title to her, strapping the rocket to her. I get it. It's frustrating. And it feels like maybe we're not striking while the iron is hot, but it is a very difficult position to be in to service a talent who has to split their time versus a talent who's going to be 100% dedicated to the brand that they're a part of.
Yeah.
I do get it.
And also, too, Fernando bringing up Stephanie Vicar and her signing or not signing with AEW after Forbidden Door.
She was never going to sign with AEW.
Well, so that was a thing there where AEW did offer her a contract, and it was a dual contract because she was still under contract with CMLL.
Yes.
Stephanie. Like, she broke her contract to leave and go to WWE, if I remember correctly.
She got a little bit of heat for that.
Yeah, she did. So
I don't necessarily know she broke her contract, but she did not do things in a way that was very fair or easy for CMLL to move forward.
Yeah, she had 3 titles. I think one of them might have even been Stardom's.
Yeah,
so yeah, that was a little messier than I think a lot of people realized.
Yeah.
Joking around. Speaking of managers, I saw Dan Lambert on my AEW bring him back.
That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
His run was short, but that guy was good. He trashed everyone, even the so-called untouchable people. Yeah, that might be why he's not coming back.
I liked Lambert a lot, but he also very much went for like the cheap pops and the cheap heat.
Yeah.
Like it feels so weird, but like calling a woman a bitch is a great way of getting heel heat, but it's also a very cheap way of doing that. And like he was like he was verbally abusing Brandy Rhodes.
I know, but the Bellas made a career off of calling people bitches, so
They get to do it. We don't get to do it the same way.
I know. You don't say that word. That's
our word. Speaking of using bitch as a slur tonight, I'm just doubling down on my criticism. Mercedes absolutely owes some money to Tekla.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that more later, but yeah, she used it twice.
Yep.
See, it's saying Britt would be very rusty. It's been a while since she had to go. And considering the last time she came back after a long layoff, I would agree.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think Tony, according, at least I think this is about Britt. Tony should just release her. So what if she goes to the WWE Women's Division? So what if she goes to WWE? The Women's Division in AEW has passed her by. She was a big deal when the Women's Division was new, and they had nobody. I don't want to say passed her by, but at the same time, yes, the Women's Division is leaps and bounds better than it was back then.
Yes, the talent level has risen all around, but that doesn't mean she can't stay afloat. And for her sake, she talked way too much shit about WWE that I would like. For her sake, if she ever did go to WWE, she'd have to skip right past NXT.
Yeah.
I don't think she'd be able to look herself in the mirror if she went to NXT first.
See, also Fernando also bringing up everything that happened with Thunder Rosa and stuff. So yeah, that could be a thing too, but yeah, I think people can get over it.
Yeah, it worked with Punk and the Elite.
Exactly. All right. After that match, we had a backstage promo from the Brawling Birds, who were pretty happy that they got another fight with Divine Dominion. They're basically like, yeah, we could go around and talk about how we always wanted the tag title since we started teaming, and how we're really excited to go out and win them in England. But honestly, all we really wanted to do was punch you two in the face.
It honestly felt like Windsor was calling out Ospreay a little bit. Stop talking about being from there. Just get ready for the fucking match.
They also brought up the fact that after their brawls on Collision, and the Birds ended up coming away winning one of them, they saw something in the faces of Divine Dominion that no one ever seen before, which is fear. So another one for them. All right. Next up, we had what many people considered match of the night: Jon Moxley versus Switchblade Jay White in a Continental Challenge Cup quarterfinal match. Love this match.
I did too.
This is the Switchblade Jay White I want to see.
I swear, Rev, I swear to you, as I was watching the match, I was like, this is the match that Rev has been waiting for out of Jay White.
Yep. And it's probably because you're right. It's probably because you're right. They gave them a lot of time. I think this was a 2-commercial match.
Yep.
So they gave them a while, and it paid off because, you could see the great counter wrestling from Jay White. Him and Moxley have very good chemistry together, even though they've only faced each other a few times, but they have great chemistry together. I'm trying to remember how this one ended, but I know I think Jay hit a Blade Runner, and Moxley rolled out of the ring. Jay went out, got him. There was a little something before
the finish of this match?
Yes, this is how it ended.
Jay had hit.
I don't know. I got it. Yeah, he hit those. He hit all those
cutthroat suplexes.
Right, but then Jay countered Moxley coming back off the ropes with a Blade Runner. Moxley rolled out of the ring.
Yes.
Jay went out, got him, threw him back in, and as he was going to the pin, Moxley caught him with a gator roll and got up into the Bulldog choke.
Yes.
Jay was still fighting. He eventually started to get to his feet. So Mox abandoned the choke and hit Switch with a Death Rider, and then got him in a rear naked choke, and eventually Jay passed out.
Yes.
So look, I'm still in a bit of shock that this was tonight and was not the finals.
I saw it announced a day or two ago, and I was jaw dropped, but it made it clear to me who was going to win, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. So I think it was also slightly disappointing as such a Switchblade fan, and as somebody who really wants to see him carry not just gold, but singles gold in this company.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed that we ended up with him here getting eliminated in the second round of this thing.
No, I agree. I mean, seeing what came after, I understand why he lost when he lost and what he's now going to be doing. Not saying that it was the right choice, but I understand that there was, in fact, a plan. I don't know if I said this while we were on air or if I said this before the show between you and me, but I think the idea was if Jay White wasn't going to win the whole thing, they needed him to lose early because they needed him to have this match with Mox to address their past and things that they've been through. But they didn't want Mox to win, to beat him in the finals.
Yeah.
So,
like you said, rip the Band-Aid.
Yeah, you rip the Band-Aid off on this. So whether you agree or not, that's what the logic seems to have been. I wish there was at least some fuckery in the finish to give Jay a little bit of protection so he can go against Mox later down the road. But it's hard to do in a Continental match.
Yeah, it would have to be ref shenanigans.
Yes.
And weirdly enough, like Mox really isn't one to, like grab the referee and then hit like the back dick kick. You know, he's weirdly got a code of honor, even if it is a messed up one.
Yeah, what a fucking asshole. But yeah, I feel bad for Jay, but I think it's hard to talk about without talking about what happened after. But ultimately, this match, so much fun. I loved a lot of like we've talked about it time and time again. Jay White is a counter wrestler, and this match felt like a chess match. These were two guys who were going not necessarily move for move, but choice for choice, where they are either countering each other or setting a trap for the other. And most of the time, everything paid off. Jay caught Mox a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. It's the type of wrestling that when it's done well is some of my favorite wrestling to watch. And I think these guys killed it. I'm as sad as I am for Jay. I'm glad that he got this really good match out of Mox. Not that it's hard to get a good match out of Mox, but I'm glad that he got this match with Mox.
I also like too that similar to the One-Winged Angel, it was shown that you do not want to get hit with the Blade Runner. Like Moxley, every time Jay put him in position for it, was desperate to get out of that. And in the one time Jay did hit it,
he had to roll out of the ring.
Yeah, he just got super unlucky that Moxley was able to roll out of the ring.
And commentary did a great job of that too, saying that was not just a championship saving move. That was a tournament saving move. Moxley rolling out of the ring.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated that the sell of how dire it was.
And I also think too, like Jay just got caught,
Yeah.
like because of that, because Moxley rolled out, he had to do, an extra step he wasn't anticipating after hitting the Blade Runner. Yeah. And he probably wasn't expecting Moxley to be even remotely close to conscious.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's in a chokehold. Like it's the one little slip up, the one little mistake, and he ends up losing. And I don't mind a guy losing that way, especially in AEW where they make that a realistic thing.
Yeah.
All right. James has mentioned it a couple of times. After the match, Marina Shafir came down to the ring and she held up Mox's hand. And then they're in the corner and they're chatting. And it seems to me like Mox was deciding whether or not he should shake Jay's hand. He's done it before. He did it last week.
With Jack Perry.
Yes, with Jack Perry. And he was going back and forth on it. And it looks like he decides against it, and he jumps out of the ring. And Jay starts walking up to him. He goes over the ropes. And he's like, "What, dude? Like, what? Like, you don't want to shake my hand? Like, what's going on here?" And before Jay even says anything, or they may even make eye contact, the dogs sneak in from behind and blindside Jay. So he's getting the shit kicked out of him. And what I failed to mention is at the start of this match, or right before it, Renee was backstage reporting on the fact that Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly, who were facing each other on Collision on the other side of the bracket, were watching the match together. And Renee also then gave a report, and Orange was like, dude, shh, we're trying to watch. So they were in the back. They decided to come out and try to help. And, you know, things are going okay. Like, they have the numbers back, and it looks like they're fine. Moxley's in the corner with his hands up, like, I didn't do this shit. I didn't plan on this. This is all on the dogs. And I would have believed him a little bit right up until the point where Gabe Kidd made his return from the G1 and just absolutely rocked the conglomeration guys.
One, before we continue, thank God he's back. I'm so happy he's back. I'm going to be looking at that trio a lot more seriously now.
Yeah, look, I was having fun with the dogs the way they were surprised, but Kidd adds a wild card edge to them.
More than anything, it makes them feel like an actual threat. I never looked at them in like the CNC feud as an actual threat. And some of that's because we knew CNC weren't going to drop the belts before All In. But I don't think even like post All In, let's say CNC retained, I would have believed those two as taking the titles off them. The three of them, I could see them doing a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And I stand by, they need to add people. They need to add 2 people.
Wouldn't mind. So with Kidd out there, Roderick Strong, who I guess was backstage, he comes out to try to help. Doesn't really work.
He did his best.
Yes. So these guys, they're all getting their shit kicked in. And then the music of Brodito hits. And the Trios champs come out, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
They march out. They don't run. They don't go for the immediate save. They strut out.
Yep. Heyman, Adam Page, Brody King, and Bandito. And like James said, they just march their way down to the ring. The dogs are like, I'm not fucking doing this, so they bail out. Jay's in there like, where'd all you people come from? Nobody in the Bang Bang game came out to help, by the way. Yeah. And so the good, the bad, and the ugly, they hit the ring. Hangman grabs a microphone. And the first thing he says, he addresses Finley, and he goes, hey, nice boots, dumbass. And then before he could say anything else, Ricochet's music hits, and he comes out with a demand and lethal twist.
The crazy thing is, I didn't even hear the music. I just heard him speaking.
Yeah, he might have. I thought I heard the aha, and then he just started talking. Like they cut the music so fast. But he's like, no. I know we don't want to hear from you, except when I'm out here. We need to be out here. And then he like waited 5 seconds, and he's like, okay, now you can talk. And Hangman's he's fed up with this dude. So he's like, look, we are the Trios champs, and there is no way in hell we are not going to be it at all in. So here's the deal. Anybody who was out here fighting, or anybody who finally had enough time from waxing their partner's head to come out here and watch the fighting, or anybody else who wants to challenge us for the Trios championships can meet us under the arch at Wembley. And he basically just laid out an open challenge. And we'll see how that goes. But at minimum, I would imagine you're going to have, obviously, them. The demand will be in that match. I can now see the dogs being in that match. Lethal Twist, probably. I know they just lost, but it's probably assuming it to help the demand, you know, to add that heel thing.
I think some version of Bang Bang Gang.
Yep, some version of the Bang Bang Gang being in it makes a lot of sense. Whether it's we'll see what Jay ends up doing, but because I think
like it has to be him and 2 other people.
I think Jay should be in the Casino Gauntlet.
I agree. I think ultimately it's like, what does it matter? Because I don't think he's gonna win either of them. Like, I don't think he wins the Gauntlet, and I don't think he wins the Trios titles.
I think he's got a better chance of winning the Gauntlet.
I'd agree. It feels like it's just MJF's match to win, which is so fucking frustrating. I don't like when those matches are predictable, and it feels like that's a My hope is Andrade cancels MJF out enough.
That's what I think is going to happen.
That's my hope.
I think that opens the door for somebody else to win the Casino Gauntlet.
I would agree under normal circumstances, but that one true champion bullshit with the other belt is making it a lot harder to not see him immediately challenge either Kenny or Ospreay.
Don't you think they would want to run with that a little bit longer, though?
But why? Like for me, it's a matter of the whole reason he's calling himself the one true champion is because he's saying Kenny's win shouldn't count. He doesn't recognize Kenny as champion, and he won't recognize Will as champion if Will wins. So why drag that out? You have that match.
Yeah, I guess it's true. But I don't know.
Admittedly, I guess MJF doesn't need to win the Battle Royal or the Gauntlet to challenge the champion. Because
exactly.
Yeah. I think we're all just assuming he's going to cash it in. He's going to win it, and then all out, he's going to cash it in.
I don't know, man. I think the fact that he has this one true champion thing means that he doesn't need the contract, because even Kenny said last week, he's like, whoever wins between, me and you, Will, we're going to have to deal with MJF, at some point. He didn't reference it by name. He was like, there's that guy running around calling himself the one true champion. That's going to be, that's something whoever wins is going to have to deal with. So I think at a certain point, whoever wins at Wembley, Ospreay, is going to just get fed up with MJF's bullshit and probably call him out themselves. So I think you don't need him to win this contract. He's going to get that title shot.
I agree with you. I don't think he needs to win the contract. And I really hope he doesn't. But I do think you do MJF versus whoever the champion is next. Arguably Ospreay, because we're not going to do MJF Kenny again. But yeah,
I don't know. I think All Out is MJF Andrade.
That makes sense too. I really hate that they're doing the one true champion thing.
Because Andrade should win that match.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
I
agree too. But I think, you know what you could do, though? Andrade wins that match, and then he gets a title shot and probably loses. But that's still good, like we'll take that for now. And he can really focus on defending the national championship, and he'll probably be a future world champion considering the run he's on. And then Max can still pull the one true champion bullshit and still get a title match.
My title wasn't on the line. His title was on the line.
Yeah, exactly. We're like, he was like, my title wasn't on the line in that match. It was just one-on-ones. I'm still the one true champion. Like, da-da-da-da-da.
Either way.
It works.
Blah, blah.
Humbug.
Bah, humbug.
Let's get to some comments about all of this Jay White and Trio stuff. Let's see here. Fernando, I love Jay White, but unfortunately I have to agree with James. Moxley was the right decision here. And I agree with him too. I think in this instance where they put it in the tournament, Moxley was the guy who was going to win this. I'm just disappointed that Jay didn't win overall. I thought he should have won the whole thing. But Fernando thinks Jay is better than this quote-unquote unnecessary title anyway. I want him contending for the AEW World Championship. So do I.
Yeah, and I think he will be. But Gauntlet or not, I do think 2027 is the year of the Switchblade.
I want him winning the World Championship.
I think 2027 is the year of the Switchblade.
But him just carrying around a title, a single title, would be great.
My ideal scenario is Ospreay, then he drops to either Fletcher or Okada, and then White takes it off of either Fletcher or Okada.
Have we gotten Fletcher's Switchblade yet?
I don't think
sounds so good.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I'm hype.
Fernando, I like Jay White's Blade Runner better than the RKO. Yeah, I said it.
I am leading the campaign charge. Please join me. Make the Blade Runner the new RKO. Make it the new out of nowhere. Merch the shit out of that. Promote the shit out of it. Make it work.
He hit it fairly out of nowhere tonight. Like, it was such a good counter. And because Jay White is one of the best counter wrestlers on the planet right now, he can hit that move pretty much from any position. So It's going to happen. See, Fernando, I'm not one of those we need a heel and babyface going up against each other all the time, but Moxley going from heel to babyface week to week is getting stupid. I think, again, Moxley is still heel. worst, he's a tweener.
Yeah.
But he has this like weird code,
Code of honor,
messed up code of honor where if you bleed with him, he's gonna have some sort of respect for you.
Yeah.
So
if you impress him, he's going to acknowledge that you impress him.
yes, especially if you bleed with him.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's part of the reason why he didn't shake Jay's hand tonight. Jay wasn't bleeding. Perry got the shit kicked out of him and was, gushing. So it kind of makes sense in his, messed up head.
I also think he recognized Perry was in a place mentally that he would shake Mox's hand, as opposed to he probably can't trust that Jay wouldn't catch him into the Blade Runner.
Especially considering their recent and not so recent past history.
Exactly. So I get how it's a slightly different thing. I'll also say I don't think he necessarily. I know you kind of said your own, Mox might have been involved because Gabe Kidd came out, so maybe he did have that as a plan. I don't know that that's true. Like, ultimately, the dogs do run independent of the Death Riders. They run together, but they are their own thing. So I could see it that Mox really didn't do anything that made him the heel tonight.
Yeah, it was just funny the way Moxley was like, Moxley is visually funny. Like he's
hilarious.
Yeah, he's such a good visual actor. I mean, he's just a good actor in general. He's one of the funniest dudes on the roster. So I don't think he's going back and forth. I think he just occasionally shows respect to some people, but he'd still kick the shit out of Jack Perry, even though he's always liked him. Speaking of liking people, Fernando's hype Gabe Kidd is back because they're big fans. He also disagrees with you about adding more people to the dogs.
I mean, that's fine. Like, if they are just a trio, that's fine. But I'm used to the dogs being a bigger group. Like, when they were in New Japan, they had more members. And two, I feel like they're just missing, at the very least, it feels like they're missing one person. It feels like they're missing somebody to be their muscle.
A heavy.
Yeah, like a heavy. And I don't know who that could be. Like, in my ideal world, it would be a nice position for Wardlow if / when he ever comes back.
The hair works.
Right? I wouldn't mind it being. Some people have said Sheamus. If Sheamus doesn't immediately just fuse with Claudio, what are we doing? But somebody in that role. Somebody. I think that's what they're missing to feel like a real threat of a unit. Because right now they're just, like, I'm sorry to say it, they're just 3 mid-card guys who lose a lot.
Yeah. And, without, I think, a fourth guy and kind of without muscle, they feel more like hyenas than dogs.
Yes, I agree.
Like, they just kind of, like, pick the bones and whatever.
Yes.
Like, they're still vicious, they'll still attack, but they're
one big lion's gonna put them down.
Yeah, and they're more apt to. They'd rather scavenge than actually have to hunt.
Yeah.
Fun fact: hyenas not dogs.
Yeah, more cat-like.
Yes, they're not canines. There's a name for them. It begins with an L scientifically. I forgot what it is. I'm at the zoo too much. Fernando is saying the New Day are going to get the biggest pop in AEW history. That's going to be hype.
I don't know if anything can beat the 1-2 Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson debut. Yeah. I don't know if anything can do it.
They're either retired or already dead.
It's all about the boom.
Let's see. If only Swerve can find some people to team up with. We'll see. We'll talk about that in a bit too. Fernando does want MJF to win the Casino Gauntlet. He also thinks Ospreay MJF ladder match, both titles at the top.
Not bad.
Yeah. I know some people aren't big fans of one-on-one ladder matches, but they can be done well.
I think they can be done very well. Yeah, I think they can be done very
Sean
well.
Razor. Even Cody Sammy was a good one in early AEW.
Yeah.
That Carter spot still lives in my mind.
One of my favorite one-on-one ladder matches is this is an old one. The Rock versus Triple H for the Intercontinental title.
Ooh.
Because those are two guys that are not people you would think of for ladder matches. And they wrestled like it. They weren't jumping off the ladder. They weren't like constantly climbing for like those high spots. They were just beating the shit out of each other with ladders. And it worked for the story that they were telling. So I do think you could do one-on-one ladder matches, and they'd be very entertaining. My favorite match of all time is a one-on-one ladder match. Jeff Hardy versus The Undertaker for the undisputed WWE Championship circa 2002. Yeah.
Climb the ladder, kid. Make yourself famous.
Make yourself famous. Great match.
Yeah. Spike Dudley is available to be the heavy for the dogs if needed. Fernando agrees that is a very underrated ladder match.
Thank you.
I like it. All right, let's keep things rolling here. After the match, we had a backstage interview with Maya World. Renee asked her about her win. Maya obviously very thrilled. She was like, nobody expected me to even win this. And now not only have I defended the title, I just defended it against 3 of the best women in AEW. They are then politely interrupted by Willow Nightingale, who comes over and excuses herself with Renee and tells Maya that she's a woman of her word. And she said that when she won the AEW World Championship, Maya would be the first person to get a shot at the title, and challenges Maya to a match on Saturday. And Maya's like, oh, wow, cool. I appreciate you keeping your word. Yeah, that sounds great. And then Willow's like, okay, cool. Now I got to go deal with Mercedes Moné and all the bullshit that's coming up. And then Maya's like, well, just a reminder, if I win, though, I get to face Mercedes at Wembley. And Willow's like, I know you're going to bring your best, Maya. And she left.
That was such a, you little scamp, kind of like, oh, honey.
Honestly, I was a little disappointed that we haven't seen Maria here tonight, because I was just like, when I say that line from Willow, she is going to call her the fuck out.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Fernando for ladder matches. RVD versus Romero for the IC title.
That was a great one. I give you that one 100%.
I could also totally see MJF. You know, everyone's like, he's had the greatest Iron Man match. He's had the greatest one-on-one dog collar match. He's like, him adding greatest one-on-one ladder match to his resume, like, it would be pretty funny.
Somebody saying, well, MJF's never had a great ladder match. And he's like, well, I took that personally.
So, you know, it's saying just another heel move from Willow. Only heels interrupt promos. Well, not always. She was nice about it. She was polite. All right. Anyway, then we randomly hop back in the ring to Jonathan Cruz.
I love how commentary was just like, oh, what's this goober doing out here? And Ted's like, he's a good guy. He's like, no, he's not.
He slithered his way to the ring. Anyway, John is there on behalf of MJF, as he is MJF's personal Spanish translator, and he is there to say some stuff to Andrade in his native language. And if I remember correctly, he basically said that in Spanish that Andrade doesn't deserve to be AEW champion. He will never be AEW champion. He will not win the Casino Gauntlet match at All In, and he will never be the real world's champion. And then Cruz goes to leave, and he's like, actually, you know what? One more thing. Andrade is not a real Latino man. I am a real Latino man. And
at that point, you just go.
Yeah, and I would say that to Andrade to his face if he was here, but and then I'd kick his ass. He actually said I'd kick his culo. Shout out to Pitbull. And he's like, but he is not here because he is a coward. So, and then he goes to leave, and guess who's actually there? It's Andrade. So Andrade comes down. He's fucking pissed. Beelines to the ring. And before he even hits the steps, Justin Roberts is like, this is now a contest scheduled for one fall. And they ring the bell, and Andrade, like, in one motion, steps through the ropes, hits a Dia de los Muertos, and knocks Cruz clean out. And then for good measure, he picks him up, hits him with the DM, and pins him all in the span of like 10 seconds. So then Andrade got on the mic, and he was also yelling in Spanish. I believe he was saying that he was going to kill MJF, amongst other things. And then he called MJF out, tells him to come down to the ring. Max's music hits. As mentioned, there was a bit of that technical difficulties, so we already kind of knew that Max wasn't going to be there, and he eventually did appear on the Tron in a hot tub with his Triple B.
Okay.
And Max basically like, I am not in that trash heap known as Baltimore. Shout out to Baltimore, although I do like the city. He's like, I am here on beautiful Long Island, chilling in my hot tub. And then Taz is like, here's a very nice mansion. It's down the street from mine. Love Taz. Max is like, as I think he's called himself the AEW World Champion, or maybe at least as the real World Champion. It's like, I got some pull around AEW. So I called up the travel team and I asked if Andrade was going to Baltimore. And they were like, yep. And he goes, so I opted out and came to Long Island.
Which, honestly, as far as heel moves go, brilliant.
Yeah. So then Max says that we will not see him until All In, where Andrade, the only thing Andrade will be seeing is the lights as MJF pins him and beats him to win the Casino Gauntlet match. And he's like, bye-bye, and he taps his title, and, he's the real world champ, whatever. And then Andrade was still super pissed, so he picked up Cruz again and hit him with another DM. So this is fine. I mean, Cruz is a really fucking funny dude. They use him sparingly with Max, but he's so funny when they use him.
He delivers. He delivers, yeah.
Him willing to take this beating from Andrade, who I'm not even really sure if he's 100%, considering what he said recently in terms of his tweets. And I don't know if Max is 100% either. I know he was in that match last week, but he's been dealing with his stuff too. So it's ended up, I think, being a very smart segment, James, to limit these guys' physical moves here and basically give them the week off. I know Andrade had to travel, but they didn't have to do, any big bumps in the ring, and you continue the story pretty damn well.
Yeah, no, this for what this was a fun little segment. Andrade got a cheap pop kind of moment. MJF got to be the wily heel. I think everybody wins here.
Yeah. I would also mention MJF, wear sunscreen, or at least put on some, because I was in a pool this past weekend on Long Island, and my chest is kind of burnt. So just be careful, bud. All right, in the comments
GSA
here
from MID.
Yeah, somebody who doesn't wear sunscreen, just throw a little bit on. Fernando, funny when Andrade was in WWE, Dom was arguably the most over individual outside of Cody. Now it sounds like he's a much bigger star than Dom right now. That's an interesting comparison. I think Andrade is he's a much more established star than Dom, just because he has the tenure for it.
I mean, hey, Dom is like a 20-year vet.
That's true. Dom is a 20-year vet, but Andrade is older.
Yes.
And has been in the spotlight longer than Dom has.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But I think a lot of that just has to do with usage and usage rate, right? Where I think Andrade has been used a lot better, especially in this run in AEW, than he was in his most previous run in WWE.
Yeah.
And Dom is used very well, I think, in WWE. At least in AAA now. But he had that run in WWE where he was used great. The Judgment Day, everything with Rhea, and then the double heel turn with Liv in the beginning of that. Recently, I know a lot of people have disagreed with his booking. Still on TV every week, he's still doing well, but I understand not everybody loves him doing shenanigans with Danhausen. So I can see why some people aren't though.
I feel like it's fair to say, usage or not, his character feels stagnant.
Yeah.
He hasn't evolved much or progressed much. But he is on the show like every week, if not every other week at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody's wrong here. Nobody's really wrong here. If you want more out of him, I agree. I get it. But there are people that would kill to be in his position.
Yeah, 100%. All right, following that, we finally got the other interview from Renee for the Women's World Championship. Oh, sorry, Fernando. Yeah, Taz is great. He's just so good on commentary. And him and Excalibur, I think, gelled very well.
Yes,
especially on Dark.
Dynamic.
Yeah, and I think that helps a lot.
Yeah.
So as I was mentioning, we had our other Renee interview with the World Champ, this time obviously on the women's side, with Willow Nightingale. and Mercedes Moné. A little bit different here, though, as opposed to the men's side where it was a sit-down interview. They already had these women kept apart. They knew it was going to hit the fan. They had Willow on one side of the arena, apparently, and Mercedes on the other. So this is going to be one I would definitely wish I had all my notes for. But basically, it came down to this. Mercedes is obviously still really pissed at Willow. She's pissed that Willow is still smiling after Mercedes kicked the shit out of her last week. Mercedes was like, I should have beat you up more. And Willow's like, of course I'm still smiling. I have the title. And I have something that you don't have, another thing you don't have, which is Dev. And she points to the crowd, and the crowd cheers. And Willow's like, look, Mercedes, you spent your entire career trying to be perfect and have the perfect entrance and the perfect gear and have perfect matches. Whereas I'm just Willow. And the people love me or hate me know who I am. And I've been able to connect with them. Whereas you just haven't, because you can't, buy that perfection the same way you can't buy the championship.
Woof.
And she's like, and that's why I'm still smiling. And Mercedes still just not having it tonight. Is like, okay, you know what? No, this is bullshit. That you are the person who was smiling over me when I got hurt in New Japan and it was possible my career was over. You were the person who was smiling when I showed up in AEW when you were standing in my way. You were the person smiling when you took the TBS championship from me.
Honestly, some pretty good points.
You were the person who was not only smiling, but shoved a cake in my face and then danced over me with your little friends. And Mercedes gets to her big point here, which is something some people in the comments have been saying for a very long time. And she says, she calls Willow a bully. And Willow just starts laughing at that. And she's like, me, a bully? And Mercedes is like, yes, like you were constantly smiling through all this bullshit. And so they just start screaming over each other. And pretty much at the same time, they decide that they've had enough of this and they're just going to go try to find each other and fight. Willow, I think, left slightly earlier than Mercedes, but once Mercedes realized Willow was leaving, it was on. So they found each other fairly quickly. I was hoping for a little more running around, a little, Benny Hill through the back. But Mercedes is the one who initially gets the drop on Willow. They start fighting. They quickly reach the ramp area, and security comes out and tries to pull them apart. And they're successful for about 20 seconds. And then both women get into the ring, and Willow just double legs the shit out of Mercedes and starts raining in right hands. Mercedes then flips it. She starts throwing rights. Security gets back into the ring. They pull the two women apart. And for the most part, they were not calm, but they were separated outside of a couple of containment breaks until security is able to get Mercedes out of the ring and up the ramp, where she finally just kind of calms the hell down. And then they play Willow's music, and then she just, starts getting everybody to clap. So, yes, James, as you said, points were made on both sides. And I think from one of them, from a certain point of view, but it is really funny that I think Mercedes is kind of taking something that obviously that Maria has been saying here in our chat quite a bit, but I think a lot of big Mercedes fans have probably been saying as well, and taking that and now using it in her promos as justification for her hatred of Willow.
Yeah. No, I love this. No notes, or no negative notes, I should say. Like, this was excellently executed. I kind of was half joking. It's like Mercedes got some points, but she kind of does. Like, from her point of view, like Willow, I know you said it jokingly before.
I know, but it works. It works. But yeah, it's just that it always makes me laugh, because I just want to go like, yeah.
But
from my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
And for every major loss she suffered since leaving WWE, Willow's been there. I understand where that resentment comes from and where that resentment has built from and to. So I do think this was a really fun promo, a really spicy promo. And I think it's what makes, like, I feel bad always doing this. I think it's what makes Willow's character feels so genuine compared to, and I'm sorry, but Hugger Bailey. Like,
Main roster hugger Bailey. I just want to.
Yeah, at the very least, main roster hugger Bailey, because it's like she's not changing who she is while still having the edge to be like, this bitch is calling me a dumb bitch and is saying that I'm a bully. Let me bully her now if she thinks I'm a bully. Like,
you want to see a bully? All right, I'll fucking show you.
Exactly. And
like, she's taking the earrings off too.
Yeah,
like going through the back. It's like full on Long Island.
So I appreciate that. I don't look at her as some like fake person. Like, no, I believe her when she says my smile is staying, it's not going anywhere, it's who I am. Whilst also like, I'm gonna kick your ass while I do it. So I really like this. So I like the promos between the two. And then the brawl itself was awesome. Very rarely do you get a women brawl. And very rare, even more rare, do you get a women's brawl like that is so intense.
Yeah,
that
full part security.
So much security. Usually it's like 2 or 3 security guards on each end, and that's it. This was like, they made sure the ring was full for this.
Yeah, it was like 10, 15 security guards / officials, and then like the one dude in the suit who's always out there with the red beard and stuff.
So this really, like, across the board, check plus. This got everything that I wanted out of it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, this was great. And I don't know if the Willow Mercedes stuff is coincidence or like they booked it this way. I mean, I guess the New Japan stuff is probably coincidence, but
that was on the fly because Mercedes was supposed to win, and then she in the match said, "No, you beat me."
Right. Because she snapped her ankle or whatever the hell she did. But my point is, like, since then, I'm guessing that everything has been kind of planned, and they are the perfect, like, antithesis of each other.
Yes, no, they are. They are. They shouldn't be the way they are, but they are.
Yes, because Willow has been there for all of the bad things that have happened to Mercedes. Now, granted, outside of the injury, you look at that like, okay, is it such a bad thing that she lost the TBS title? She beat Willow for it in the first place. Willow regained it. Like, yeah, that sucks from Mercedes' point of view, but from Willow's point of view and from most of our point of view, that was a good thing.
Evil.
Yeah, no, that was a good thing.
Yeah.
And now Willow having this title, we're all thrilled about it. So it's a combination of Willow has her number, and they just booked this so perfectly to lead up to this point where, you know, it feels like they're destined to do this forever. I know I'm switching movie metaphors there, but it all just works
for me. It all works for me.
It just works. So great. Yeah, another great segment from these two women. I'm very happy with the way this is going. Fernando loved the brawl.
Agreed.
He thinks it's the best story going into All In, especially as opposed to the men's world title match. Although I enjoying the men's world title match and everything.
I'm loving both of them. I'm loving both of them.
I'm loving most of AEW right now, to be honest. I usually do it. Now, I said she was getting everyone to clap because that would be a real heel move, right?
Jesus Christ. What's my finisher at the FTD?
Fernando saying, seeing Willow making random championship matches is very Darby-like. When he was the champ, she's dropping it at All In. I won't consider this match too random. She did say Maya would get the first title shot, so there's at least a precedence to it as opposed to everyone just coming out and randomly challenging Darby every week. And also, this is something that happens in AEW. Sometimes you just get title matches. Yeah. Kenny versus MJF was on a fucking collision.
Yeah,
the first one.
The first one, yeah.
And it was a title match.
That one was because of the timing, though. Because, but that one wasn't out of nowhere. That was, if I don't beat you on this show on Collision, you will surpass my record.
Right. And this one isn't out of nowhere either with Maya. Like, she offered Maya the title shots, and she's just holding to her world. So, you know what? Saying hugs or trust builder, smiling all the time, says I'm about to screw you over. Depends on
you can only get a smile can't stab you in the back. A hug can.
See, touche.
On guard.
Okay, after that, we went backstage with Prince Nana and Swerve Strickland. And Nana is basically like, did we hear you right, Hangman? And Swerve echoes him and essentially is like, all right.
Say it if you don't mean it.
Yeah, if you don't mean it, don't say it. So, yeah, New Day. Absolutely happening. It's so happening.
Can you imagine he swerves us and it's 2 other people?
Oh, everyone's joking around. It's the old Mogul Embassy guys.
Oh my God, Parker. Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh,
that whole
God,
thread is either New Day
hilarious.
gifts or pictures of them.
Oh, that would be so funny. Oh, it'd be so funny.
Yeah, hang on. What was that dude's name? It was something like weird.
Parker Boudreaux and I
No,
forget
yeah.
and Thrasher, like
Hang on.
Trash.
Trench.
All right, I was actually weirdly close.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I know it's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. So you don't got to tell me it's not going to happen. But I know we're all expecting New Day to come in with Swerve because they've got the heel gimmicks that they built up in WWE over the last year or so. If they wanted to come in as like Bootio loving, pancake loving New Day, there is one person I legitimately think would be a great fit. And that's Keith Lee.
Yeah, he would fit in with them, but
yeah, I know it's not happening. I know, but I just want him back.
So do I.
My man is sick. My man is divorced. My man is quiet. I miss him so much.
I do see somebody in that same Reddit there when I looked up Trench's name. They're like, no, let's make it Parker and Rick Ross. And it's just called false accusations and use a big motherfucker. All right, just a couple more things to go here. I know we're going long tonight, guys. I think part of it is we've been very freeform tonight, considering I don't have notes. So the last match we have to talk about is Nigel McGuinness versus Hechicero, which was the other quarterfinal match tonight we had in the C3. I don't want to say there wasn't a lot to talk about here, but a lot of this match was based around the fact that Nigel injured his left ankle against Shibata on Collision. Yes. And with Hechicero being such a submission-based wrestler, this was a lot of submissions. Yes. So if you like that type of match, this was really cool.
And if you don't, it wasn't that long a match.
Yeah. And time slot of death. Weird.
Yeah.
But this ended with Hechicero making a mistake, charging at Nigel, and Nigel just hitting him square in the face with a knee. So then Hechicero was kind of stunned, ran back at Nigel again and tried to like do a flipping arm drag off the ropes. Nigel just dodged it and then got Hechicero to the ground in a front chancery and just squeezed him. That's a reference only my brother would get. Squeezed him until he passed out. So cool submission-based wrestling, James. They more fucked over Nigel's ankle. He had to be helped to the back by 2 doctors after the match. So that's obviously going to continue to be a thing here. But I liked it. You know, it wasn't long. I would like to see these guys have a legitimate longer match, but it did its job for what it needed to be.
I agree with all that. I think I am a big believer it's going to be Nigel versus Mox. And I do think that the injury is absolutely real. Like, I don't think this is a worked injury by any stretch, but I do think it's one of those things that it's like, it might not be as serious as everyone feared, but it was serious enough that they need to be a little precautious. So I think that's what this was. And you could do that with someone like Hechicero.
Yeah.
Like, he's the perfect guy for this. So I think it worked out there. And even next week or this Friday when he wrestles Lee, Lee's another submission guy. They're going to be wrestling a pure match.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to not bump a guy's ankle. But we'll see. I enjoyed this for what it was. I hope that the Lee match is a little bit stronger for his sake. Even if, like, win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter. I just hope it's a little bit of a stronger match.
Yeah.
And I'm under the impression he's going to retire in Wembley. Like, officially retire in Wembley.
Yeah. And, you know, that sucks. I've loved having Nigel back, even though it's not full-time. It's just cool, especially as somebody who didn't really get to experience him in ROH back in the day. Like, watching his newer stuff and seeing him in New York at Grand Slam against Brian of all fucking people.
Like,
yeah, it's been really fun watching him come back. But at the same time, like this time being able to go out on his own terms and doing it in his home country on the biggest possible stage he can, it's kind of hard to pass that off.
No, I got Nigel back in ROH. Like I had ROH World Champion Nigel.
Yeah, spiky hair.
Yeah. So for me, I'm happy for him. It is an interesting move to have Mox's all-in match be Nigel, if it is Nigel, because for me, who had that experience, it's special. But for other people who only have gotten Nigel in these matches in AEW, you're almost like, really? This is what we're having Mox do? And granted, Nigel will go. He can go with the best of them. And if you're going to go out, going out against the ace of the company is the way to go out. But it's kind of a risky move as far as I see it. But I'm sure it'll be a fun match no matter what. And hey, if it's not him and it's somehow Claudio instead, that's going to be a banger too. So,
yeah. And the only way, I don't want to say the only way, but I would think Nigel's ankle would have to be properly fucked for him to not.
Yeah, I agree.
Make it all the way to Wembley. Then again, they could have had a move tonight if it was. So
yeah.
Okay, last thing here. Well, a couple of things, but they're tied together that we have to cover. We had a promo package from Darby Allin, him calling out Kevin Knight. The only reason I bring this up is Darby was talking a lot about family, and he mentioned Sting and Sting's kids, and then Stephen Borden in particular. So then we had Kevin Knight brought to the ring by Tony Schiavone, and Knight immediately threw Schiavone out of the ring because he's a dick. It's either just reset again or, reset again.
Oh, God, man. Get a new computer. Get another new computer.
Yeah,
Get an iPad. Get an iPad.
Fuck Apple. No, I could probably fix it. I just probably have to do something that I can't do right now. Anyway, so Knight kicks Schiavone out of the ring. And he essentially says, he's like, people have been asking a lot of questions about me. He's like, I finally got some answers. But the biggest problem with everybody is they've basically been working off an older version of who they think I am. I'm not a young boy anymore. I'm a grown-ass man and the greatest TNT champion of all time.
I'm a big boy.
So he invites Darby out and he's like, look, if you want the answers to your question, we're going to do this face-to-face. So Darby's music hits. He starts to come out. He's on the ramp at the top. And Kevin's like, whoa, okay, cut the music. Before you move anywhere, Darby, I need you to prove that you don't have any weapons on you. No bats, no thumbtacks, no exploding backpacks, nothing. And Darby's like, okay. And he opens up his trench coat and he's like, see, I don't got nothing. Like, cool. And then Kevin's like, all right, cool. All right, you don't have any weapons. But I'm not fighting you tonight. I'm not fighting in Baltimore. And he's like, my family's not here, so we're not fighting. I'm not doing it. And then he's like, all right, so Darby, come to the ring. And Darby's like, no. And there's a bit of a standoff. And I was like, come on, dude. You're not. And then all of a sudden, a whole bunch of pyro goes off at the stage. And a bunch of it hits Darby in the face. So he's stunned and he's stumbling all over the place and he stumbles down the ramp and Knight takes advantage and hits one of those flying lariats he hits out of the ring onto the floor. Knocks Darby down, quickly grabs Darby, sets him up in the corner, grabs a chair, sets the chair up and goes across and he hits the coast to coast into the chair. Is that the Van Daminator or am I thinking of the other Van Daminator?
It might be the Van Daminator.
Yeah, because I think with the chair, it's the Van Daminator. The coast to coast is Shane O'Mac's.
Yeah. Which RVD also did, but yeah. And then what's the Van Terminator? Is that the one where he kicks the chair into you?
Yeah, I was trying to remember which one was which.
Let me see. But you keep going.
So yeah, and then Knight hits that. Medical quickly comes out between the burns on Darby's face that Schiavone was appalled by, and the fact that they had to, once again put a brace on his neck and get him onto a stretcher. I really thought Knight was going to come back and hit the UFO splash again on the stretcher.
I'm glad that he didn't because it sold how deadly what he just did was.
Yeah.
You know, because if he did the extra, it's like, okay, none of it was that bad, but altogether it was bad. No, that one move was that bad.
Yes, combined with the fact that Darby's face is melting, at least according to Shivani. With medical came out the aforementioned Stephen Borden. So then Darby's getting wheeled to the back. We cut to the commercial. We come back. Darby's in the back on the stretcher with medical and Stephen. And they're getting really close to the ambulance. And Knight just kind of saunters up behind them, and he's taunting Darby a bit. And then he starts taunting Borden. And he's like, yo, Stephen, it's like, you know, like, I get you being here, but, like, know your place, you know? And Stephen gets pissed and he starts to go after Knight, but Darby, like, grabs him somehow. And he's like, not yet. And then Darby's like, wait, ow, my face. So the medical's like, we got to get him out of here. And Steven just glares at Knight and follows medical. And then Knight's like, all right, I'll see you around.
I'm going to die if Kevin Knight's all-in match is El Hijo del Stinger.
No, it's Darby that they already established that.
But maybe Darby got taken out tonight. Why introduce the Stephen Borden of it all at this stage?
Here's why. Because the second I heard Darby mention him in the video, the promo package, where he was like, you know, I used to see the same thing in you I see in Steven now. I wrote it down in my notes, which are now dead. And then I wrote it down again when everything happens with him coming out and Knight and everything. I was like, this kid's getting his fucking ass kicked. He's going to get the shit kicked out of him. It's not going to be, I thought it might have been tonight. It'll definitely be next week.
Okay.
Now you're just going to prove a point and beat the shit out of this kid. And then there's a decent chance that Borden ends up helping Darby win the TNT title. Or Sting.
Or Sting, yeah.
Yeah, Sting coming
Which
back.
Shouldn't be. Sting shouldn't get involved.
No, you know what should happen? Sting should show up and then hand the bat to Steven, and Steven goes down there and beats the shit out of him.
Do you have Steven rock the paint?
I don't know if he wants.
I don't.
He's trying to kind of make his own character here, but
while using his father's name. I mean, it's his name too, but using his father's name, like it's going to be hard no matter what. Let's be honest, and it's not a knock on him. He could end up being one of the best talents ever. He's going to be Sting's kid for the first few years.
Yes. I mean, so was Dom. Dom was Ray's kid for the first few years.
I know. He's still Ray's kid. That's the problem. He's still Ray's kid.
Yeah, but no, everyone's more saying like, "Oh, he's Eddie's kid, and Ray's the deadbeat dad that raised him."
Yeah,
so it ends up working a little bit better with Dom and kayfabe. But yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to get the shit kicked out of him, and then he'll get a big pop at Wembley. And this is how they're introducing him proper on AEW television. I know he's been working dark. I think he's worked some ROH. This is his first proper introduction on AEW TV, and outside of the Sting's retirement match where he dressed up as one of the Stings. Was he Red and Black Sting?
Yes.
Yeah, he can move.
Yeah, no, he can. He can. I think the thing working against him, unfortunately, is I think he's like mid-30s already.
Yeah, he's a little bit older, but that's why everyone was like, oh, he didn't get into wrestling. He probably won't do it. But, oh, he looks really good. He can move. And then I guess everyone's hyped him up so much. He's like, no, fuck it. I'll give it a try. So it's not a bad idea when, you know, the head of the second biggest company in North America owes your dad a favor. So.
All right, he's either 33 or 34, which isn't terrible.
Yeah,
like, obviously, yeah.
Essentially.
But, yeah.
All right, and then after that was...
I looked it up. The Van Daminator was the spin kick into the chair. The Van Terminator was the coast to coast into the chair.
Right. I knew it was one of the two, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was a 50-50.
Yeah. All right, like I mentioned, after that we had the main event and then the Kenny turning evil thing again. So that was Dynamite. And again, I apologize it took so long. But I liked it. It was a long episode, James.
That it was.
A big segment of that being the Ospreay Kenny interview. But I thought the matches were pretty good tonight. I don't know if they were great, but they were good.
I think Jay versus Mox was great.
Jay versus Mox were great. The other ones were pretty, were good, pretty good.
Yeah.
I very much like the women's match as well.
Yeah, the women's match was strong.
And then, as we mentioned, despite the fact that Kenny Will segment was long, it was also very good. And the other segment with the women's championship was really good. So good job, Renee.
Yeah.
So again, good. I think we got another good episode tonight, especially considering we usually say the penultimate episodes are historically better than the go-home shows for Dynamite. So I think we got a good one here heading into All In.
I'd agree with you. I would agree with you.
That's all I got.
No, I'm tired.
We've been going super long.
Yeah. I enjoyed this a lot. I was fed on Kenny and Ospreay. Like, that alone made this a fun, strong episode for me personally. I enjoyed the women's segment. Like, I loved Willow and Mercedes. Again, though, but Mercedes absolutely owes Tekla some money for the dumb bitches that she's just dropping. Like, she dropped 2 tonight, 1 last week. It feels pointed. It feels pointed.
It would be really funny if, depending on the outcome of the match, but either way, if Tekla comes back and just starts kicking the shit out of Mercedes for...
That's my line, you dumb bitch. That'd be fun. Or funny.
I didn't know we had so many dumb bitches in here stealing my lines and calling other bitches dumb bitches.
SRS has apparently asked multiple times if Tekla is going to be an All In. And he has been told every time she is penciled for the show. So I don't know what that means. I don't know. She's probably going to have a segment at the very least.
Yeah. Is she in not New Japan, but is she in Japan right now, like defending the Stardom titles with the rest of the triangle, or she just taking time off?
No clue. I have a feeling if they're being this quiet about it, I think I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think it's the Kyrie debut.
Oh,
I think Kyrie debuts to shut Tekla up.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I very much enjoyed the show tonight. Sad for Jay White, but I hope he rebounds into something fun. It was, even though the match was kind of just fine, I enjoyed seeing the Elite together. I don't know if there's anyone more happy that Lance Archer was wrestling tonight.
Derek was pretty hyped, but
that's true. That's true. So yeah, I got everything I needed out of this show.
Yeah, very enjoyable show. I continue to be very hyped for All In, and this just helped that along. So it's what it's supposed to do, right?
Oh yeah.
You're biased Akira there, Tony Khan. All right. On that note, I would like to thank everyone so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. We'd appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. If you like the video and lets us know that you're enjoying what we're doing here on the show. Again, this was a very free-form episode tonight with my computer crapping out. So hopefully we did everything decent amount of justice. If you liked it more free-form as opposed to me, reading notes, let us know. We can try. I will still probably take some notes, but I won't read them as much, I guess. This way, so I just have to go like, hey, this is actually the ending instead of like, I think this was the ending.
We'll ramble with conviction.
Yes, and we'll keep things a little bit tighter. We got off track a lot tonight. But, like I said, if you enjoyed it, let us know. And if you got any other suggestions, leave a comment. We'll chop it up with you guys and, down there. And it'll be fun. If you subscribe, continue all the great stuff here on the channel. Gym Pack Zone tomorrow?
That is the plan, yes.
All right, so you got the Gym Pack Zone tomorrow for you TNA fans.
All 5 of you.
Yep. At a certain point this weekend, James will be covering Death Before Dishonor for you ROH fans. So it won't be that night, like you said, but it'll be either probably Saturday or Sunday. So be sure to keep a lookout for that. And we will be back here Wednesday for Dynamite. It'll be the go-home show before All In. I don't think it'll be a 3-hour one. At least I hope not. So I don't know if Tony's doing Collision.
Not make any promises here.
Yeah, I don't know if Tony's doing Collision that Saturday or not. But it'll be in Glasgow, so it'll be pre-typed, which hopefully means it's not a 3-hour one. But we'll be back here to cover it. And, occasionally Matt hops on Monday night when something big happens to talk about Raw. And we cover as many pay-per-views as we can. Not just Death Before Dishonor, but All In a couple of weeks, and the WWE ones as well. If you like to check us out on any social media stuff, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Blue Sky, links are in the description below here on YouTube. If you're watching us over somewhere else, you want to check us out in some other places. Twitter is @marketdown_pod. Instagram is @marketdownpod. YouTube.com/@marketdownpod or /marketdown3665. Marketdownpod.bsky.social if you want to chop it up with me over there. Or just search Marketdown Podcast on any of your social media platforms. If you don't find us, let us know, and we'll create an account there so we can hear from you guys on some different platforms.
And if you guys want, I'm going to hijack for a second there. We have just launched our sort of secondary Instagram for a new docuseries that producer boy and I are working on about independent wrestling. So it's called Ropes and Dreams. Go check it out on Instagram. So far, that's our only social media. But we've been doing some really fun, interesting work. Rev helped us for a day on one of our shoots, and we're gonna drag him back for another day soon, hopefully. But go check us out. Ropes and Dreams on Instagram.
Yeah, we're currently, I think we've mentioned our subjects, right? So I can talk about them. Yeah. So we are currently working with Sweet Cheeks Joey Silver from House of Glory.
The new House of Glory world champion.
Yep. We also previously worked with Jay Line, so we're just trying to finish up that video as well. And they should be pretty good, pretty exciting. I'm very, very excited to see the finished product for both of those, especially with getting time with Sweet Cheeks as he was about to win the world championship. And you get to see some of the behind the scenes with that.
Yeah.
So go check it out, Ropes and Dreams, over on Instagram. And also check out Matt on the Instagram as well. He does a really good job with all that stuff. And you get to see his memes, but you also get to see a lot of good indie stuff as well, as he's always on top of that.
Yeah.
Any final things, James, before we go?
No, as Rev said, we'll see you. I'll see you tomorrow for Gym Pact. I will see you this weekend for Death Before Dishonor. We have All In, and I think a week or
it's 10 days.
10 days. Thank you. And I think we have a WWE weekend event coming up too, like a main event or something.
They're counter programming one of these days. They're doing a Sunday's main event, but I think that's Labor Day weekend.
Gotcha. That's insane.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Well, because they're like, oh, everyone's off Monday, they'll just watch Sunday.
Yeah.
And I know that the AAA event is coming up too, and then the whole thing that's going to happen where like the winner challenges Roman, so that's coming up as well.
Yeah. But all right, love you guys.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I could write everything down. I would have to get paper.
That's actually how I take my notes. I actually don't type it out. I write them down just because it's easier to like free form, just like free thought. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could also just start using my laptop and my actual second screen for my laptop instead of the Mac. I will also probably end up fixing this Mac because I am good at that job. But thanks, thanks, Fernando. I know you were in there, Derek, earlier, and anybody else who watched. Thank you so much for watching this here at the Markdown Podcast. For James Asante, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you again, and have a good one, everyone. Let's go, Mets.